Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome. Okay, I think everything's working, and I think we're all good. Hello, MR3D Gaming, welcome. You have some great comments, by the way, great theories. Welcome, everyone. Hello, Neo. How's everyone doing? Hi, Tamara. How are you, sweetie? Shout out to my beautiful girlfriend for tuning in again. Thank you. Welcome. I'm just making sure I have everything set. Okay, perfect. Welcome everyone to the second stream. Hi, James. Where today we're theorizing for a video I'm working on that should come out. I'm releasing a video that should come out tomorrow on Fall Fest, but today we're kind of, I guess, working together for a theory that should be releasing next Friday or Saturday about Mexis or F10 and 4. Should be one of the final theories on Secret of the Mimic before I start going back to other projects that I had ready, like the FNAF the reboot and things like that. So yeah, hopefully I can get your guys' help with this, because I'd say this is probably one of the more confusing parts of Secret of the Mimic. I definitely thought we were gonna get more of a straight answer with Mexis and who it was and how it all worked, but we didn't. Not really. We kind of got, well, kind of. For those who don't know, at the end of Secret of the Mimic, once you kind of reach this area, the research and development area, you find F10. Here, we'll play a bit of audio.
What?
I'm watching Fusion Z Gamer, by the way. Shout out
My
to
arms
him.
are just like floating outside of it. What the heck?
Let's see.
What? It's a
Yes, we're definitely gonna start first with Mexis, because man, yeah, it's confusing. I think so.
Fiona was a robot.
Despite the circumstances, it is nice to meet you face
Are
to face.
you?
It is lonely down here.
Wait, what? What are you? A computer? Your voice changed. What is going on?
Oh.
You have questions, but there is no time. I'm almost out of power. You
Yeah,
can
you are.
still be useful.
No.
My communications with Edwin have been severed. Edwin abandoned us. He shut himself away in our home. Head to the main house and activate the
Oh.
communications sub-terminal. I have a message for you.
Wait.
We must convince him to repair M2. That is all that I want. If you do not, M2 will never stop pursuing you. Tell Edwin
What?
I still love him. Entering standby mode.
And there's the
Are
ad,
you a
but that's
Roblox?
it. Yeah, not much honestly information on Mexis. And yeah, that's definitely what I want to try to, I guess, have a better understanding today before I dive into the video. Because I don't know, usually with these videos, I feel like I have some understanding, especially after playing the game. But even after playing it and watching a couple of different people's thoughts on it, I'm still very, I guess, confused, you could say, because I think compared to other answers we got in Secret of the Mimic, this is something that still kind of remains a mystery, in my opinion. Considering the F10 enter in standby, I wonder if she's still in the remains of the costume manor. Right, that would make sense. And I guess, yeah, that's the first thing I want to, I guess, get, ask you guys' opinions. Maybe Mexis was done after the Mimic escaped in one of the endings. Right, yeah, because we'll get there for sure, how that happens. Because obviously Fiona, or the M1 program, is here in this supercomputer. Hi, Morse. Welcome, member. So that's the first thing we kind of know, that the M1 or Fiona is transferred here, and then Edwin tries to make the M2, but isn't really successful at it. So, what do you guys think? Is Fiona possessing this supercomputer, or is it just simply the programming? I could honestly see it going either way, especially because the computer seems to really believe it is Fiona. Oh, look at the hearts. But at the same time, it's in the game, Fiona, or this M1, is the only program that works, because when Edwin tries with M2, it doesn't work as well. and we kind of hear that through the audio logs. I think it's just M1 copying Fiona inside of the machine. Yeah, it's kind of what I'm leaning towards as well. Just because it would be hard to... Well, first of all, how would Fiona even possess the M1 program? Because it's assumed that Fiona died at Fall Fest, the Fall Fest fire, through like Moon.exe. So if that's true, how would she be able to possess the computer? Because I doubt M1 was at Fall Fest, first of all, so how could that be possible? Fiona seems to be dead, but Edwin does hear on radio frequency somehow, so she's still out there. Yes, exactly. That's a great point. It could be honestly a mix of the two, where this is the M1 program, but Fiona's soul is somewhere in either the manor or somewhere near here. Honestly, that's what I think, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to really decide because there's evidence going both ways, so I'm not really sure.
Home. Head to the main house.
But either way, okay, so we have the M1 program inside of Mexis. So that's the first thing. Either way, no matter what kind of, if it's possession or not. But obviously this isn't Mexis. We learn about Mexis down the line once Arnold is already in the house. And once in the office here. Real question, do we think the costume ended on the Pizzaplex? I still do think so, yeah. That's kind of what I talked about in the last video. I guess for me, the biggest piece of evidence was like the Freddy head that is under the Pizzaplex and the manor. It's some Freddy head we don't find really anywhere else. So I think it is.
Here?
Let's see. Here we
No.
go.
Maybe I have to close it at like the right time?
So here we go.
I don't know.
Now this is what Mexis stands for. Finally, at least we found that out. Mechanical X-Form Experimental Storage number 1. So this is the Cradle program that Fiona gives to Edwin. Or the M1 program gives to Edwin, or wants to at least. So obviously Fiona isn't Mexis yet. So I guess the other big question is, how does this get into the Mexis machine?
Okay, run it.
Because now we know that Mexis is inside of Arnold. What do you call it? The switch thing. But then at the very end of the game, we see Mexis take it.
All you need to do is download
Freely
buff,
Fusion,
let it run
another
in the
ad.
background as you play, and just like that, you'll start
Fair
pressing
enough.
buff
I get it.
Is-
Here we go. So the mimic, the mimic takes the Mexis program. This is number 1, so maybe storage is a prototype. Yeah,
No,
the
someone
one
has
with
to
that one.
save me.
Yeah, that could be true. Yeah.
Oh, you just
So here we go. The mimic takes the Mexis program. So then how does that eventually end up in the machine again? And that's honestly like another, what happens in these, what, like 60 years? I know, I just saw that too, the poor Spring Bonnie bobblehead. But what happens in this, like, where does the mimic go after this? And because he has the mimic, or the Mexis kind of computer. So what happens here?
Don't break it.
You see, he just walks away. So a couple questions there. Where does the mimic go in general? And how does the mimic program end up back in the computer?
The van.
So
Oh
I
my
guess
God,
that's
they're
what's
still
more
chasing-
confusing.
they're still chasing me, dude.
And
There's
that
no
I
way. Get in.
thought that would have been answered,
Okay.
honestly.
That's it.
Or I
Keep it
didn't think they
inside.
would have gone the route of
We'll
having
accomplish
2
the
kind
job.
of programs
Oh,
inside the
we're
Mexis
trying, dude.
machine,
We
but
are
it's okay.
trying, but we're getting attacked right now by these guys.
He has the data driver, so maybe goes back into the costume manor. Right, yeah, that's kind of what I think.
The least threatening
If he does go back in the manor, but then someone else would still need to implement the Mexis program into the computer. You know, hopefully that makes sense. So how or who does that?
No, someone has to save me. Oh, he just took that. No. That's all he wanted. Are you?
Obviously, I think the first, like, kind of is Edwin. Or, I mean, not Edwin, sorry, Henry. Or actually, it could be Edwin. But I've seen some people theorize, including myself, kind of what I believe, that Henry could have been the one to somehow find this data driver and then make Mexis with this new program. But again, we don't really have any evidence towards that. And I guess something else I want to really talk about is the design of Mexis. Because obviously, it's a blue or black bunny. So are we saying that Mexis is the same as Fiona? The mimic can already control technology. He just needs the data driver as the key. Got no clue as how the Mexis could be made, though. Right? Yeah, that makes sense. And same here. How? who made Mexis? Because I honestly thought by this point Mexis was already made, not 2 separate programs. So what do you guys think? Is Fiona actually Mexis? Like, are they one and the same, or is this an entirely different program? And then like it brings up another question: is Mexis like sentient or just a program? You know, is there some possession involved here? I don't really know. Because with Mexis, I guess there's just with the design, there's no connection to Fiona. It's a blue bunny with, you know, these wires. It doesn't really have any connection to Fiona, especially in the game. If anything, the only animatronic we can connect Fiona to is with Foxy. I think just because obviously the Foxy puppet crew that we see in the theater. But a blue bunny seems random for the design. That's why I'm kind of stuck in saying who is it, or at least whoever made the Mexis program, why designed it to be a blue bunny. Seems like since they're kind of changing the details of what the books told us, M2 might have just been in the costume manor the entire time until ruin when Cassie shows up. That's what I also think. That's definitely what I've said in a lot of my theories, that the mimic just kind of stays there for all those years. Especially considering how old it looks. Wish they would have stuck with the possession kind of route. Honestly, same here, because it definitely seems like it, though, the secret of the mimic. Because David definitely possesses the white tiger plush. Or the version of it we see. But this is where it's like not as clear, you know? That's why I wish it was one or the other. The mimic. Is it possession? Is it not? I don't really know. And again, I wish it was clear, but it doesn't really seem like it. So yeah, whoever made this Mexis machine, why make it a blue bunny? Or if it is Fiona, why is it still a blue bunny? This design just seems so random to me. Because even if we'd say it was Henry, it would make more sense if it was Yellow Bear for obviously Fredbear, since that's the suit we assume he wore or made. Yeah, I think the White Tiger was kind of a nice callback to Golden Freddy. Yes, I agree. That was very cool. Especially like the children laughing in the back. That was creepy. And I guess that's this era's version of Golden Freddy, which I'm fine with. I definitely wish we got to see more of the White Tiger plush, or David, or if it is possession. But either way, what we got in the game was pretty good, I'd say. And even if we can also say that even maybe William made Mexis, or at least put it inside the supercomputer, because it is a bunny. But again, why blue? Wouldn't it be like a yellow bunny, like Spring Bonnie? It just feels super random. Even if you want to go as far to say that like somehow Arnold survived this moment and would get the data driver back and then put it into the Mexis machine, why a blue bunny again, you know? And honestly, I don't. What do you guys think? I mean, I don't think Arnold survived this. Maybe, but I don't think so.
That's all he wanted. Are you?
It seems like he's about to pass out, and I don't really know if anyone's gonna help him after that.
Don't break it. Side. The van. Oh my gosh, they're still chasing. No.
So yeah, I guess there's obviously a lot of questions with justice for Arnold. I agree. Poor guy. I don't know what happened to him. And another thing I want to talk about is obviously the Help Wanted 2 update ending. Where here we get Mexis already made. So this to me makes it honestly more confusing. Arnold deserved the $25 gift certificate. I agree. He got robbed. It maybe has nothing to do with each other, but the wallpaper in Secret Mimic looks a lot like the secret code from Security Breach to me. Oh, actually, I haven't noticed that. That'd be interesting. I'd have to look into that, but I guess the only thing I did notice was that the carpet matches with prize boxes from Ruin. But besides that, not. I guess too much similarities. But here, so this is what's also very weird, because now we know that this is the Fazbear's Entertainment van that Arnold will drive to MCM. And there's the Mexis inside of it. But this isn't F10 N4, this is Mexis. So this makes it even more confusing to me. Because originally I thought that this was right at the beginning of Secret of the Mimic, and Arnold was taking Mexis to MCM, a way to stop him. But it's actually the opposite, where Mexis doesn't even exist by the end of Secret of the Mimic. And then Arnold leaves just with the program and not the actual computer. So how does this happen? Arnold deserved that's so is glitchtrap M1 or M2? Honestly, I've seen it go either way. Again, that's another thing that wasn't made clear that I might do a stream on, or just a video in general. Is Mimic still glitchtrap? I lean towards yes, but the specific program is not as clear, because the M1 program did work, and especially with mimicking people. So could that be glitchtrap? Honestly, still don't know, but I'm gonna go with that. It's the M1 program. The Help 1 and 2 entry seems to represent the Mexis in the form of data driver blueprint 4 being taken away by the manor by Arnold. Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, so we could see as like just representing. Okay, glitchtrap is probably a branch of M2 if I had to be honest, and someone wants to stand by. That's also a good point. Yes, because he handed us the Tiger Rock plush. Okay, wait, so the F1 computer has the same design as Mexis? I'm more confused now. I know it's honestly a bit confusing, but I guess all I see is this computer is the same as. Sorry, where is it? As did I miss as this computer?
Love was
Oh, there's the ad. Sorry about that.
until Pizza Hut showed up.
Go get her. Hi, I'm Peter.
So I guess in my head that these two are the same computers. The only difference, kind of like the Mimic, it's just a different programming. Because I don't really see a reason why to make two separate ones. So kind of like the Mimic, where there's the M1 and M2 program. It's one single computer with the F10 program and then the Mexis program. And I guess the question again is who put the Mexis program into the supercomputer, and then why is it a blue bunny? Those are kind of like the biggest questions. But I did like MR3D Gaming points about that it could just be representing it and not like a literal kind of scene we're getting, where it's a good point, right? It's just the data driver in Mexis. He's driving away with it, and that's what we see there. And I actually like that. That's a good answer to it, I think. Because it'd be hard to take it literally. Oh, let's see. Sorry, just pulling up the. Here we go. Yo, what's up, everyone? Hi, Ghost Reaper, another member. Welcome. So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Because here again, we have the ending that I was just playing, and here. Is this like a literal sense? Are we actually seeing someone take Mexis away, or is it just Arnold? Really, another ad? I'm so sorry. I need to get YouTube Premium. I'm very unlucky with all these ads. So again, here it's. Yeah, I like that a lot, honestly. I guess the only thing that throws me off is we see the Mexis pop out. So again, it makes it seem like this was a literal kind of sense that someone is taking Mexis away. What I'm kind of leaning towards to explain the Blue Bunny design is that Cassie's dad might have had something to do. That's what I also think. Because obviously the Blue Bunny could be Bonnie Bro. But at this point, I think he's just still a kid. And then afterwards, I wish we saw more of Mexis, I guess, like an actual mini game, like an ending where we do see that Cassie's dad like possessed it somehow. But instead, we just see him like in a staff bot now. So I guess it's hard to see how he would possess it or control it somehow, but it would be a satisfying answer because, again, the Blue Bunny. It makes the most sense. Glitchtrap and Mexis seem to be the opposite, so thinking about it, I now think Glitchtrap is M2 since Mexis is M1. That's a good point. Yeah, that makes more sense, honestly. I agree. Right, yeah, that's not... Or also... Yeah, that makes sense. Because M1 would be Mexis and then M2 would be Glitchtrap. But again, I wish we saw... I was really confident that we were going to see the Glitchtrap mascot, but we never did. A little disappointing because... That would have been a perfect kind of answer, saying that yes, they are the same, and it wasn't William Afton coming back again. But hey, it's okay. I hope we get a DLC with Mexis. I agree, that'd be really cool. I honestly see a Fall Fest DLC being a possibility before Secret Mimic, where we play as maybe Fiona even and how the fire took place, or we get this DLC. Actually, wait, that's an interesting idea. If Glitchtrap was a branch of M2, Mexis could be a branch of M1. That was in the data. Exactly, yeah. That actually makes a lot of sense. Okay, you see. Some good ideas here. Perfect, thank you. And of course, I will be giving you guys credits, so don't worry, in the video. So stay tuned for that. And I appreciate you guys being here and helping me out with this theory, because, again, it is a really confusing one. But yeah, I guess could see another DLC where we play as someone like Henry, for example. I know this is far-stretching, just this is an idea, but... another DLC we play as like Henry, and we go back to the manor for the actual computer itself. I don't know how that would work, or if the mimic's role in it. Because in that sense, it just feels like Ruin, where you're returning back to the manor after it's destroyed, just like the Pizzaplex was destroyed. But this could be like someone like Henry or someone else like that taking the actual Mexis machine away once he's already implemented that code in. And this is what we see here. Because, yeah, I mean, we're seeing the actual Mexis, and this is not F10 by this point. And then he drives off with it. Also, I was the only one confused that we never saw this entrance in the actual MCM or Secret of the Mimic. The only place we actually see this is in a miniature sculpture I noticed, which is kind of cool. I'll show you guys now. But we do see this in a miniature sculpture, or at least we should. Somewhere in this gameplay. If I remember correctly, it's right after he escapes. Let's see. Oh, wait. Nope, soon. Sorry. Earlier. Somewhere around here.
You had to go up here, and that's the door right there with the code. You go up here, and then look, you have this.
You see,
the
yeah,
house
this
right
is the
here.
only place, because this isn't MCM, right? I think we can agree on that. Oh, if there are any DLC, you would want to see if Cassie and Roxy go into the band. Right, yeah, I'd want something like that too, honestly, a continuation. You think it's possible that Fall Fest Fire was an accident? Well, that's perfect that you asked. That's the video I'm releasing tomorrow about the Fall Fest, and I personally think, and what I talk about in the video, that it was William that caused it on purpose. And there's some evidence, surprisingly, so stay tuned for that. I've seen some theories where the Moon minigame is a foreshadowing what happened with Edwin being the Moon and Fiona being the Sun. Yes, that's also what I talk about in the video, so don't worry. But yeah, Edwin definitely represents Moon. Sun, Fiona's Sun, and then David, the baby owl, and then you play as the Mimic trying to escape. And then, interesting enough, in that minigame, there's a burnt statue of Fiona, so like another way of saying that like Fiona died at Fall Fest. And I do think it was William. But yeah, I found this interesting because this isn't the MCM that we see in Secret Mimic, right? Like, was this a second building he wanted, like an expansion building he wanted to make? Because this is the same as this, right? But we never saw this. I was hoping that this would be like the entrance, but instead we saw like more of like a warehouse type feeling, versus this does feel more like a fun house or circus type of building. But obviously, I'm assuming that this was never completed, especially since he's gone. It looks like it might be something that could be used for a film set. Oh, it's another good point too, yeah. Maybe something with the shows. I just still wish we saw it, because this looks very fun on its own. There was a whole theater department in the MC. Yes, I love that area. Or I love the segment with the Foxy puppet, even though it was a bit long, but... But yeah, I mean, that's a good point. What do we think? Are we getting a DLC? And then, if so, where would it take place, and what would it be? Because I do hope we get a DLC. I like the idea that it takes place in the future now, but I could also see that being like the next actual installment in the game, where FNAF Security Breach 2, where we return. That would be crazy. Okay, so I just want to look at this again, because... Also, I know we saw the code again, but I guess I want to ask you guys if we know what it means now. The actual code we put inside of Mexis. Does this... I know we saw it somewhere in Secret of the Mimic. I forgot where, but does this mean something? 462... Oh, sorry, I messed up the code. Is the FNAF 6 location Pizzaplex on top of Edwin's factory? I think so, yes. I talked about it a little bit in my last video, but a lot in a lot of videos, and I think so, yeah. I guess I talked about it earlier, but the biggest piece of evidence is like the big Freddy head you find in research and development. The only other place you can find it is inside of the Pizzaplex, so I think they're the same. 4625 wasn't on top of one of the audio logs. Yes, that's right. That's what I thought too, yes. But I guess still we don't really know the meaning for it, at least. And especially why it was used for the Mexis machine is the cradle, I believe. Okay, so that makes sense. Sorry, another ad, wow. The machine does look cool. I don't know. I guess I still hope we see this somewhere, like in a literal sense, somewhere else in the game. It's too early to say when we'll get the DLC, but given previous FNAF dual games DLC, I do think we'll get DLC, but it's unclear. Yeah, I think so too. Because this doesn't really count as a DLC, but it is like some update. Because for FNAF Help 1, we had the Dreadbear DLC, and then Help 1, or Security Breach, we of course had Ruin. And then this could count as a DLC. So I hope we get a Fall Fest DLC. That would be really cool. Because that's still the game or like event we haven't explored yet. Wait, Edwin's factory is below FNAF 6 Pizza, which is the Pizzaplex? Yes. It's kind of what I talked about. I can pull up the video here really quick. Just because I do think it's interesting. It wasn't made as clear as I thought it was originally going to be. But it's okay. Okay, here it is. So in this video that I released, I think a few days ago, I go over how Edwin's mansion. I'm sorry. Here we go. Edwin's mansion. I go over how this, I believe, is actually the FNAF 4 house, which I've seen a lot of people say now, which is nice. I think another big piece of evidence towards the manor being in the pizzaplex is that during the mimic chase, you go into the elevator that closes like the ruined one. Yes, I also saw that too. That could, I think, yeah, just another great piece of evidence saying that they are the same. But this, yeah, this has got to be the FNAF 4 house, and I kind of go over that earlier in the video. Where is it? Well, first of all, I go over this area, this giant area, which, believe it or not, I believe is where most games take place. Oh, that's weird. I talk about it right at the end of the video, but to me it makes sense. Oh, wow, this is my ad. I am disappointed. My own ad. Unskippable too. Wow. I'm so sorry, guys. 2 unskippable ads. Okay. That's crazy. Sorry, guys. Ooh. Something else that immediately made me drop Hurlo's Afton says, Edwin, it's me. At the end of the room, Gregor says, Cassie, it's me. Oh, that's cool, yeah. Nice. I just noticed that. That's a good point. And good details. Here we go. So this huge area, right? This is the pizzaplex. If we know the FNAF 6 is under it. Did you answer my question, Lo? Sorry, my wife disconnected. Yes, that's actually what we're talking about now, so perfect timing. It is under the pizzaplex, and this is kind of like the map I made in my last video. So this is the pizzaplex, then we know the FNAF 6's location is under it. Then we know the manor was most likely under it, which I'll go over soon. And then we have the FNAF 4 house somewhere here in the distance, which, believe it or not, I also believe is the sister location bunker, which is here. And then finally we have Fall Fest here. I hope this makes sense. I try to make it as, you know, understandable as possible. But these are a good amount of locations on one area. And you could even go as far as to say that this is the same as Fredbear's Family Diner, but the evidence is a bit more loose. But yeah, let's start with the house, I guess. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So this is the outside view of the manor. Oh, thanks for the information, of course. So this is the outside of the manor, which again surrounded by kind of this forest area, the buildings. And then here we find Edwin's mansion, right? I kind of like this area, by the way. It's pretty cool. Kind of makes sense. What about the Princess Quest ending tree, though? I'm pretty sure it could also be seen in the roof area. Oh, that'd be cool. Talking about this? What do you think Junior's is? Oh, I'm still kind of torn up about that. Technically, if we're following like the same lineup that I just went over, Junior's would be the manor. But that's hard to believe, because I don't think Scott necessarily had the Mimic era plan since 2017. So I might make a new Midnight Motorist video with kind of update information from this game. But for now, I want to say that it's the manor. Does it make sense completely? Probably not, but I think it could be possible. Okay, yeah, that's cool. That's a cool detail tree. Nice. Okay, but yeah, so we have the manor here. And what do we find in the Dreadbeard DLC? Come on. Okay, so back to the house, sorry. And then here we go. The house in the distance, surrounded by the trees and forest. Same exact layout as this. House, mansion in the forest. Kind of the same layout. Really, the only difference is that obviously this is a mansion compared to the normal looking house. So really what makes sense is that after the fire at the end of the game, which we see here. Wait, maybe the scoop room Dolly mentioned in one of these segments of the game. That's a great point. Yes, that I just thought about. That would be perfect. Oh, but interesting. So that could honestly be another thing that William stole from them, was the scooper machine idea, where it was first in the manor and then William took it and used it in sister location. Here we go. Oh, sorry, I missed it. So this is the ending, where it, of course, burns down. And I guess this would allow William to remodel it. Oh, and this is another, obviously, I'm sure most people have noticed this. But David's room is basically identical to the FNAF 4 house room. I mean, you have the exact same toys, like this robot, this kind of caterpillar thing. And the closets are basically identical. The only difference are kind of the wallpapers of the lights, or the wallpaper, the light here in the cabinet, the drawers. A version of storage was mentioned by Edwin, but we don't see it. Oh, I actually haven't seen that. Yeah, so that'd be cool. Another way, maybe the games are canon, or the books are canon, who knows. Again, like the same toys. So basically what I think is after the fire from the end of the game, Edwin remodeled what was left of the house into the FNAF 4 house. William S. Steeler, yes. Toy phone is also collectible in the game. Oh, really? I didn't know that either. Actually, I've completed the game, but not the secret ending, which requires all the collectibles. Just gets a bit harder, so I haven't got to it yet, but it's Codito. I was pretty shocked to see it. Yes, me too. I think that was still my favorite reveal from the game, and I made the whole video on it, which did very well, by the way. Thank you all for that. Yeah, my favorite reveal. And the spring locks too were great. But yeah, I think this is basically the same as Edwin's mansion. Like, I mean, just look at the area. They look almost identical, honestly. So after the fire, Edwin would then go, or William would go in and then make it the FNAF 4 house. What do you think is Afton's motive for killing? That's honestly so much harder now, because before I think it was easier to say maybe it's because he lost a kid or was just crazy. But now the fact that it could do something with Remnant is crazy. I honestly do think it's partially with Remnant or experimenting or just the idea of immortality. But again, I just wish we had more evidence for that. So William is a squatter? Yes, absolutely a squatter. Again, like this house is destroyed in the fire, and then William comes in and then makes it this. William got the manor remodeled, yes. I mean, even here, like in the distance, same exact layout. That's another thing I talk about, where the FNAF 4 minigames house is not the same as the Afton's house. I mean, just look at the layout. There's like a sidewalk connected to a road, and then obviously we know it's connected to Fredbear's Family Diner. But what does Secret of Mimic confirm that old theory about chicken being a diff? Yes, it also does confirm that for sure, because we learned that Fiona actually designed her for Chica's Party World, which was opened either before or after Fredbear's Family Diner. But yes, entirely different group, and she had her own kind of like food animatronics, so it was confirmed finally. But again here, yeah, we have Fredbear's Family Diner, just not the same. I mean, this is up in a hillside surrounded by trees, and this is more like in a neighborhood house. So basically my conclusion is that this is an experiment house made just for experiments, and this is his normal family house, which sounds crazy, but I think it makes sense. Old Man Consequence seems to be very, very Monty. That's also interesting, right? Because it's the only alligator animatronic we see, or a character. And again, we do see an alligator mascot here, so could Old Man Consequences somehow be related to MCM? Again, not the same place. There's no way. That's kind of what I talk about here. More yapping and yapping. So yeah, I guess the FNAF 4 house, or Edwin's mansion, what remodeled, was simply for experiments. Old Man Consequence seems, so Henry and William stole the idea of Chica from Fiona? I wouldn't say necessarily steal. It looks more like Fazbear's paid Edwin and Fiona for the idea of Chica's Party World. They commissioned the character, and they made the mascot and made some other animatronics. So I guess more they're working together, but he definitely does steal other animatronics. So basically, in the books, in Tales from Pizzaplex, Didophobia, we learn that the bunker is most likely under the FNAF 4 house. And here we even find like the gas tanks. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so in Didophobia, we learn that this dislocation bunker is most likely under the FNAF 4 house. We even have these cameras that show rooms from the house. And then we also have the scooper room. So if you follow the same logic, that means that this area, this underground tunnel right under Edwin's mansion, would also be remodeled into the sister location bunker. Because again, bunker is under the FNAF 4 house. So if these tunnels are under the Edwin mansion, that was the FNAF 4 house, then it has to be the sister location bunker. Which I know seems far-stretched, but I think it's possible. Because in that sense, it's hard to believe that William would make an entire underground bunker from his house. But what if one already existed that he just kind of came over and, took control of? Hey, I finally was able to beat 4550 mode on UC and mobile. Any tips? I'm honestly not the best person to ask for that. I think the farthest I've made it was, same with you, 4550. I think the hardest ones were Chica and Puppet. I still haven't figured it out. But I'm sure there's some good tutorials on YouTube that can, I think, get better advice than me. Speaking of all my consequences, I think Uchu pointed out that the lake in the caves of ruin, the lake is red, like the one. Yes, I've also noticed that, and yes, I think I saw from him as well. That's a good point. Because yeah, again, it definitely seems like all my consequences is in these newer games. Because not only like the lakes being the same or like the caves, but also just with the alligator mascot we see in Ruin. I mean in Secret of the Mimic, and then of course Monty's an alligator character. So I wonder how it all is connected. But yeah, these are the same. In a sense, of course. Also, this was crazy. I didn't see this in game. I'm not sure where this area was, but the fact that you can just see the hands popping out, I thought was crazy. Look at that. Oh. Hey, Brown Swims, you were right a long ago. Oh yes, I saw your comment. Sorry I haven't responded to it, but thank you. That meant a lot. And I appreciate that that you noticed that or that you commented. Thank you. I appreciate it, and I'll respond to it as soon as I can. But yeah, it was nice. I definitely think I'm right, or at least I hope I am, just with all the evidence. And I was saying it for a while now, so it's nice to see that it finally came true, honestly. Because I was hoping for such a long time. I think since November of last year, I made the first theory on it. Let's see. I'll put it up really quick. To me, Chica always be catching. I know, me too. Yeah, Chica and Puppet, I think, were the hardest ones to face. But yes, this was so cool. I did not experience this in game. I don't know where this was. That's another question. That could be like another video. Like, where did the Mimic learn this from? William, who knows? This was also cool. I didn't see this either. I don't know how I missed these in my gameplay. Okay, yeah, here we go, finally. And then for those who are asking how the Pizzaplex is under the manor, or just wondering how, or sorry, the other way around, how the manor is under the Pizzaplex. So again, we have this area, which, just looking at it, like the mountains, the hills, same as what we saw in Secret of the Mimic, which is cool. I'm glad, thank you. Of course, Moon animatronics and Secret Mimic still confuse me, but I definitely think maybe work got stuck. Honestly, yeah, I want to make a theory on the Moon. There's so many theories to make, and I love it. But Moon was something I'm definitely waiting to the end, because it is something that confusing for sure. Because in the text logs, we do learn about employee being stuck there because the elevator doesn't work. So is it the Mimic in there, the employee possession? I think it's definitely possession in the employee, just because I think it's cool. And it kind of shows that possession happened before the MCI, and that it was something that maybe William learned from. Do you think the vampire shows a reflection of Edwin with the Mimic or William, Afton, and Michael? I'd say it was originally with William and Michael, but now it could honestly work just as well with Edwin and the Mimic, which is pretty cool. Poor Arnold's arms, he was just another device that tells the story of the Mimic without interfering in the lore that exists. So they give Arnold no face and make him die in all endings. I know. Honestly, I know Narrow Raven might be working on a video about Arnold, which is really cool, because I guess he's claiming that he's really important, which I'm excited about. Hopefully I'm not giving that away, sorry. But I don't know. I think Arnold could have some bigger role in the franchise, honestly. And it seems that I hope he does, honestly, because every other character we've had kind of casting, Gregory, Vanessa, they've all been like in multiple games. So just to have Arnold as like a one-off protagonist feels interesting. So I hope he shows up somewhere else, even if it's just like voice logs of him or like somewhere. But yeah, as of now, it just seems like he's just someone who they used to kill. I think it's funny that if you use the camera thingy, Arnold is just floating in the air. Yes, I love how they didn't really give him like a full body model. It's just arms. No, Raven is peak. I agree. I love his theories, and I really like this newest one where he had a bunch of creators like voice act the different logs. It's cool. He has great video, and I've actually done collab with him a while ago. Midnight Motors collab, so you can check it out on his channel. But yeah, this area definitely the same as Secret Mimic. Okay, so yeah, so I talked about the bricks a lot. I made a whole video on just the red bricks that we find in the Pizzaplex that couldn't really come from anywhere else, especially from FNAF 6 Pizzeria. And then this was in Security Breach. These TVs are from the 1970s, and when does Secret of the Mimic take place? 1979. So why would they be here? This seems so random if they didn't, basically if they just never left and they came from that time period. Funny story, when the games first launched and I got in Spring Luxus, the game didn't hide his arm. So yes, I actually saw that in a couple of people's gameplay. I don't know why. It didn't happen to me, but I saw that where the arms just like pop out for a second. I kind of wish it happened to me because it looks funny. But yes, TV is 1970s in Security Breach. And this is the biggest, I think, basically what confirms it is this Freddy head right here. We find the research development area. right before we get into the FNAF 1 pizzeria. And what do we find here? The exact same Freddy head. This is you can find this in Security Breach and Ruin, but I mean, to me this is like the exact same head. There's just, let's see. I think I put him side by side. Yes, here we go. Oh. The exact same Freddy head. I think so. I have to check here, but I'm pretty sure it's also missing an ear, but I mean, we don't really see this head anywhere else in the franchise. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure I'm not, because we don't really see it anywhere else. So the only reason it's in the Pizzaplex down in the sinkhole is because it never left. It came from this era of the MCM Manor. So yeah, to me that was like the biggest piece of evidence for sure. And again, for those who missed it, just so I can go over it. Also, a lot of people pointed out what with that head, it doesn't match in previous Freddy versions. Yes, that's a good point too. So again, it could be like the prototype Freddy that Edwin was developing, not one that we'd seen before. So the only problem I have with the Faz, although is I'm sure it's true, is that how can you build so many buildings on top of each other? It's like burying a whole tower. That's a great point. Because yeah, MCM was at least 2 floors with the long basement, and then on top of the FNAF 6. Yeah, it's a lot, honestly. I feel like it wouldn't realistically be possible, but I mean, it looks like FNAF made it possible. Because yeah, especially also like if the bunker is also under, or the sister location bunker, like how does that fit? It's a lot, and I agree it can be confusing, but this is the map I guess I have now. Where's the Fazgoo? I don't know, maybe I'll make a video on Fazgoo. Where's that in MCM? So we have the Pizzaplex, and then we have FNAF 6 location, then the Manor, and then off the distance we have the Edwin's Mansion, which turns into the FNAF 4 house, which then has a sister location bunker. And then in the distance we have Fall Fest. You can even see it here, kind of the barn, and then... So yeah, this is like the map so far, what I think we have in the franchise, which doesn't really leave too many spots left. Obviously, we just have the FNAF 1 location, the FNAF 2 location, FNAF 3, which is FNAF 1 probably, Fredbear's Family Diner, and then that's it. We're just missing the locations from the first 4 games. But from the rest, like FNAF 6 is here, or FNAF 5, and then FNAF 6 are here. So yeah. Why does the FNAF lore gotta be so confusing? I know, I think with this game, it felt overwhelming for sure, and at least for me when I first played the game. And then I just found so many things, and it took me a while, I guess, to piece it all together. Could Edwin's Mansion / Edwin House still be around? I guess by this point, unfortunately, it isn't, or maybe they just didn't like plan it to make it obvious. But around this area, it's not here, unfortunately. So I'd go with probably not. I got a theory that the Jester costume can be used as the base of the glitchtrap costume. Yes, I've seen that being thrown around, which is very cool. Because they have kind of the face shape model and even some similar poses, which is cool. So maybe glitchtrap wasn't it. I just guess it's interesting why the Mimic would use the glitchtrap in the virtual kind of world and not the Jester suit. Or how, or if someone actually did make the Jester into glitchtrap, like who did it and why. Guys, I think Edwin's name is Edwin. My name is Edwin. Oh yeah, by the way, who you think would win, Megan or FNAF? I saw that interview. I thought that was so funny. But I gotta go with FNAF. Come on, I mean, the whole Freddy Fazbear crew against Megan, it's gotta be the Freddy Fazbear crew. There's no way Megan wins. I'm sorry. My name is Mimic. I made the Edwin. The mansion probably got demolished to make room for something else, or to make room for the Pizzaplex. Yeah, that's true. By this point, definitely it's been, I think, 60 years after Secret of the Mimic, and like 40 or 50 after FNAF 4. So, yeah, definitely one. We are FNAF. Yes, they say as they destroy Megan. Do you think Edwin could still be alive since we didn't see his body? I honestly hope so, yeah. I don't know how, because it sounds like his legs were broken, but maybe he has like, I don't know, robotic spine or something. But I do hope Edwin's around and that we see him somewhere, at least hear of him somewhere in like a future project. The distraction Mexis solo version with no concept of difficulty. Wow. I never use those, by the way. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I ever used the little mice when actually playing. My leg. Real. Yeah, he completely, I think he lost his leg, so. But yeah, that's how the Pizzaplex is under, or the Manor's on the Pizzaplex. But looking back at this, because we got a bit more people in now, who do you think Mexis is? Because I guess at the beginning of the stream, we're talking about how Fiona is originally the program inside of the Mexis machine and gives Edwin the Mexis program, but then in Ruin, we see the Mexis program inside the machine. So how does this happen? Is Mimic possessing this machine? Is Mexis Fiona? And why a blue bunny? Why? I was thinking Edwin has to be alive for him to design the storyteller, but this game already changed a lot. Yeah, that's another thing. It could have just been Fazbear's, because you're right, the book does change a lot. I think for me the biggest change that kind of confirms the books aren't canon is the fact that Fiona's alive after her pregnancy. Because in the books, Fiona dies giving birth, but obviously in the games, she's still with them for a long time until she dies in Fall Fest. So I want to say Edwin's still alive just to say that he made Storyteller. Edwin would have been stuffed inside a suit in the house if he was dead. That's true. Yeah, that's why I was interested. We never really found like a body of Edwin, but it makes the most sense that he would have been in his house still. Wait, do you think the mimic was Burntrap? No. In my latest video, or the most recent one I have, I kind of said that mimic was not Burntrap. I still don't. I don't know if I agree with it now, just because it really does feel like mimic has been there the whole time and not William Afton at one point. So for now, I'm gonna go with no. For me, it's just the designs. The designs are too different to say they're the same, I guess. And I know the mimic can change, like his endoskeleton and stuff like that, but we're talking about like the flesh and like the suit, like where did that all go? Things like that where, to me, it just makes it seem hard to say that they're the same. But honestly, I could be wrong and they are the same. Edwin also doesn't have a mustache. Yes, I saw the design. Yeah, compared to the graphic novel, the designs are totally different, which just makes it seem like they're not even, they're less canon now. I will pull up a design of Edwin in the book so you guys can see him. The claw marks we see in Ruin imply that he was because of matches. Yes, that is your underscore pointed out in his video. Great point. And that's honestly the only thing you can't really debunk, you know, because they are the exact same claw mark. But I just can't get over the design differences, because they are really clear different designs, so it's hard to say the same. Oh, I'm very excited for the FNAF 2 movie. I can't. It's crazy to think it's only 6 months away, which is not that bad compared to the 10 years we waited for the first one. I think we're fine. The endings of Secret Mimic don't seem to clarify if Fazbear's ever took the Mimic. Yes, I know. That's another thing. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. Where does the Mimic go? He just kind of takes the data driver and disappears. It's interesting. What happened? Where was he in 60 years? Well, Edwin didn't die like the others that Fazbear sent in. M2 blew up the office that he was in and legs not completely crushed. Yeah. So his legs were destroyed. So I just wonder if he survived, how he got out, and why didn't the Mimic just finish him off? FNAF character designs have always been inconsistent. That's also true. I mean, Springtrap and Scraptrap still one of the craziest design changes ever. But here's Edwin in the books. This is what Edwin looks like in the Tales from the Pizza Plex novels. Very different. Can Golden Freddy bend reality? Honestly, it just does seem like he does in some games. And that is David. Very different designs. Or does time space apply to... Honestly, yeah, the shadows are also kind of still a mystery in my opinion. I see the old man silhouette. I know. This is the fact that this was canon. Like, I use this in my videos at some point. It really did seem like the canon design for Edwin until we got in Secret Mimic. Why does he look like wise old man? I know, he looks very different. I guess I like it for what it is, you know? It's just very interesting to see it compared to this. I mean, this is Edwin in the games, and then this is what he looks like in the books. Fiona married Edwin because of this mustache in the books. Really? Interesting. Out of topic, but I got it. Tula Boo Boos? What? That's crazy. Like the... did you get in the Pop Mart, like the drop you told me about yesterday? That's crazy. Congrats for getting the Labubu's. That's crazy. Because I know if you were waiting, I bet that queue was crazy or trying to get more crazy. But congrats. Nice. I still don't get why everyone used the detective PNG. I guess it just came from the music video from Jackie's box. So after that, it just came the canon design. That's why I used that at least. Jackie got the piano treatment from Poppy Playtime, unfortunately. I know that was disappointing. I mean, I used Jackie in like all my thumbnails for the longest time. Just for her to be in there for 5 minutes. I couldn't believe it. But in Secret Mimic, Edwin has no mustache. Yes, no mustache. No mustache. In Mimic, the shop would line up with the costume manor. The cave entrance would line up with the mounted MM. Oh, really? And the cabin in the woods lines up with where Fredbear's is, where David is cooked. Interesting. I guess heard about the caves lining up with the mountain Midnight Motors. So I have to look into that. But again, yeah, I definitely want to make a new Midnight Motors video because I haven't made one in a long time, and I think there's a lot of new evidence with these newer games. Yes, I got them apart. Nice. That's crazy. I can't believe you got them. How long did you wait? That's great. Oh my god, nice. You better show me which ones you got later. I think one of the best parts of Secret Mimic was when we got to make a Springlock suit. That was cool too. Yeah, I like the line design a lot. Honestly, I wish we saw more of it or that we could wear it through longer. Hoping that Jackie shows up in DLC. Yes, that's a good point. That's what people have been pointing out. Maybe if we get a DLC that takes place with Cassie, you know, you go up this elevator and you look around the abandoned MCM. What if like the Mimic goes inside Jackie again? Because that's a good point. Jackie's the only mascot we don't see what happens to afterwards. Every other one we do, including like Dolly or Big Top, but we never see what happens to Jackie. So I don't know. I think it's possible, yeah, that we get a DLC where we play as Cassie and maybe Roxy down in the sinkhole, and then we fight the Mimic, and he wears like his old costumes. That'd be cool. It's crazy that one of the lion costumes was inspired by Scar from The Lion King. Was it really? That honestly makes sense though, because they do look very similar. Like the scar and just the designs and everything are cool. I don't know. I think the design has grown on me, but I still prefer the game design for sure. But yeah. Here is. Oh, that is cool. I just saw that.
Dick's epic
Never had no.
July sale is
I
on.
wish Duel and Scott had finally make adult characters with a face they could see in gameplay. Yeah, that's fair. I think the last time we saw like an adult human character was Vanny, and even then she had a very short role in Security Breach. And I also wish we got like an actual canon design for Arnold. But I do like seeing all the fan art. There's some really cool designs for what Arnold probably looks like. I do want to bring up cool little hand cannon I think the Lion Varsity suit is named Leopold. Interesting. I like that name. Honestly, I'm fine with that. I like it. Do you think we'll see Afton appear again in future books or games? I'd say probably not, unfortunately. I honestly would like to see him in future games. I think maybe the books, but not in the games. Because we only saw him through initials in this game, you know, WA. And I guess really at this point it just seems like that the story is really focusing on the Mimic, especially in the future with the game after Ruin. So unfortunately not. Headcanon, Arnold is just arms floating in the air, right? That's his canon design. It's always meant to be. That'd be funny.
It is lonely.
But I guess I want to ask now, if you guys have any thoughts on Mexis' design, why is it a blue bunny? Because if Mexis is Fiona has no really connection to a blue bunny. Really no character in the franchise does. Because even if we're saying Henry created the Mexis or, you know, put it inside the supercomputer, it would have been a yellow bunny, like Spring Bonnie. And then even if we want to go as far as say as William, it would have been like a yellow bear, you know, like Fredbear. So why is Mexis a blue bunny? What do you guys think? And can we connect it to someone? Is it just like a random design? Who are we saying that the blue bunny is supposed to be? Because even then, like, even if we could, I wish there's a way to connect to anyone, you know? Because it's just hard to say any blue bunny to any character. Fazbear's Entertainment must have made Fiona into a blue bunny like Bonnie. You see, yeah, or it could just be like something like that, where it's just a design choice, you know, for a character like Fiona. The Vanny mask does plan in the user's hand, so maybe Cassie's dad literally gave Mexis that physical body. Oh, that could be cool, right? It's like, okay. I like the idea too, where it's more something like in the future that made the design choice. I like that too. William, but then again, William Appleton is purple. You see, yeah, there you go. Like, it would have been purple or yellow, you know? Not something that is blue or black, even in some lighting. Do you like Joy of Creation? I love Joy of Creation, yes. I haven't played it personally. I have played it, I think, a long time ago. I guess not that long ago. But I do love, just their models are crazy, and the gameplay, I love it, yeah. Maybe I should do gameplay or streams on that. That'd be fun. The Fredbear Springlock suit has prototype on the back of its head, has shoulder pads, has a stomach catch. Could have it been... Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, it's my first time hearing about it. That's a cool theory. John Cena's bald. I love that theory. That's cool. Yeah, because I guess in that sense, it's really the only animatronics we've seen with stomach catch, which would line up with Glamour Face. That's a great point. Wow. I hope you're okay if I bring that up in a future theory. I'd, of course, give you credit. John Cena's bald. But yeah, that's a really cool theory. Because maybe that's why Fazbear, you know, years down the line, Fazbear's Entertainment just reuses the prototypes in the MCM, which would have been under the Pizzaplex. like through his mind maybe. Yeah, you see, yeah, it could be something like that because definitely Cassie's dad is in the staff pod. So what if like by that point, you know, he just created kind of this design? But I wonder how that all that works. You know, is it like a hive mind? Is all of that like kind of connected? It's interesting to think about. There you go. Who's driving him away? Where are we saying that it took the Mexis? I talked about this earlier, but I really wish we saw this building in Secret of the Mimic.
For the sake of the future, we must all come together.
2 unskippable bats. Sorry guys, I'm gonna get premium for the next stream just so we can avoid this. But yeah, so here we go. We never see this building. I wish we did. Yeah, it's something really interesting too. Not just Fredbear and Phony Broadsides, but even characters like Jackie have noticeable shoulder pads, which is like the thing the Glamrox have. Yeah, exactly. That's the only Glamrox are like the only really characters with those designs. So maybe like, what if Jackie was also used somewhere else? That's cool. Quick question: the books, the game, and the movie, do they all have separate lore and timelines, or do they cross over? Great question, but also complicated answer. I think the movie for sure has the most obvious kind of lore that is separate from everything else. You know, just because the way the movie plays out, you know, and kind of having these locations open, and it's definitely separate, and that's the easiest one to tell. But the books and games, I think, definitely cross over at some points. Whether that being just parts of them are canon, all of them are canon, it's honestly debatable. But the movie's for sure separate timeline. But then with the games and books, we can use them, I think, almost together to solve answers. Good question. Something I want to bring up though. So another video I want to make. You see, I feel like I have so many possible theories in mind. But one about the puppet and the possibility of the puppet being a prototype of Jackie. Because at the very end of the game, once you're actually in Edwin's office.
Ready?
Nope,
Okay.
nope,
Close.
too far. Here we go. We get this kind of screen, and you have the access for surveillance room, of course, which allows you to move forward. But you also have these two options: access alts Fazbear's designs or access puppet designs. So I thought these were really cool because I wonder what designs would have popped up. Because when you try clicking on them, the file is redacted, so you can't. But I think the puppet designs are cool because what if Henry had commissioned Edwin to make a kind of a security puppet after hearing the death of David, for example, and wanting to keep his child safe? Obviously, he asked or commissioned him to make security puppet designs, and one of them would obviously be Jackie, since Jackie does have the same exact music box, is one of the only other characters with a music box, and has similar like face shapes, things like that. But it's interesting to think what other designs are in these folders. Again, they're redacted, and I don't think they're in the game files or anything. It's just kind of there for us, I guess. By the way, could the Princess by Cassie be Cass, since it was originally called Cassidy in the files? Also, she can turn into a purple version of herself in Princess Quest Moon.exe. I'm more of a Cassie. Yeah, this is controversial at this point because I know some people believe it's Andrew Golden Freddy, Cassidy Golden Freddy. I think it's Cassidy still. Maybe that's outdated, I'm not sure, but I do think Cassidy was supposed to be Princess Quest at one point, but maybe not anymore because of how it was even removed and things like that. I do think Princess Quest and Moon.exe can be connected, or I think all three of those stories can be connected in some way, but it's just hard to imagine how or the exact connections. But I'm sure there are some details that can connect them, like there are caves in Moon.exe, which we can see are in Princess Quest, and then again in Ruin. Puppet's designs aren't under Fazbear's designs. Oh, they're in a separate list, so it seems like they're for something else entirely. Oh, that's a good point too, yeah. I guess you're right, yeah. Great point. If it was the same, it would have been in the same folder. So I guess question is, who were the puppets designed for? Do you believe in the theory that UCN is an alt reality created by Golden Freddy for William? Oh, yeah, definitely. Whether that, I'm not sure what that reality would look like, or if it's purgatory, but yeah, definitely Golden Freddy torturing William Afton, and still is, technically. What if they stole the music box from Jackie for the puppet? Right, yeah, it's like another thing. What if, like, at the end of it, what if the reason we don't find Jackie is because they took it, Fazbear Entertainment, and remodeled it into the puppet? I think it's the ideas like that that could be really cool. Kind of just more proof that Fazbear's Entertainment did steal the designs, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's interesting because, yeah, MR3D Gaming brings up a good point. Who then who's the the puppet designs for? And is Jackie the puppet, or was it a prototype? No. And then also, I guess, what were the alt Fazbear designs? I also wonder, because we know by this point that the Unwithers didn't really exist. So were they the toy designs, alternative kind of characters? It's hard to say. Let's see. There is something I wanted to show. Let's actually look at Jack's gameplay. I thought I had it here. But yes, I'm sure many people are also sad, but yes, very sad that Jack only had, I think, 5 minutes or 10 minutes at most of the sequence, because I definitely wish it was most, or that it was more. She deserved a lot more screen time, in my opinion. The sword seems to be
a work management.
The sword seems to be a data driver, fast wrench. Oh, uncorrupting the beings being corrupted by him too by plugging the wrench into them. That's a cool idea. Yeah, right. I see the connection for sure there. And I think it's definitely worth looking into again, kind of revisiting Princess Quest at that point, because I guess by this point in the lore, I know Princess Quest isn't really something that's talked about anymore. It was kind of just something that we said was connected to glitchtrap, and that's it. But there definitely could still be some connections, especially now with the data driver and uncorrupting the mimic in the good ending. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Also, this was crazy when this dropped, by the way. Still can't believe that we got 45 minutes of gameplay. I think it was 2 days before the game released. That was crazy. Here we go. The Jackie's box. So what do you think? I mean, I know it's kind of far-stretched or crazy to say, but is this the puppet? Is this a prototype version of the puppet? This is another theory I'm working on as well. I do think it could be possible in some way. Obviously, their designs are very different. Almost exact opposites, but could this have been something commissioned by Edwin, for Henry? To protect Charlie, obviously, and this was just like one of the many designs made for him. Because again, in the screen we see that there were puppet designs for someone. Here's the puppet. I know, not really similar designs at all, but worth looking into still. Because I think what is interesting is towards the end of the sequence, towards the end of the chase sequence, where is it? Right here. Oh, too far. Right here, where the where Jackie actually attacks with an event. I mean, it's already been pointed out, but I want to point it out again. Just the marks on her eyes, which can be related to the puppet's teardrops from the mask. I think it's really cool detail on a way to connect them. Not necessarily saying that they're the exact same character or that the same fate, but maybe it's just that Jackie was simply a prototype for the puppet. Because, I mean, yeah, I think these are very similar and clearly meant to be the same thing, in my opinion. The Jackie's box have the same music as the puppet, so maybe they just stole the music. Yes, yeah, exactly. They do have the exact same music. Let's hear it over here.
No, we're not doing this. I'm doing it. All right, we are doing it. I'm lying. I'm lying straight to your face for doing this. Come on, get out of there, Jackie.
Same exact music.
Come on, I'm gonna get you out of there. Yeah! Oh my god, my neck.
Cool design, by the way. The blob at the end of Princess Quest seems to be the full form of M2, and its characters it's taken over the years. The blob seems to be M2's characters. It's in a connected physical form. If M2 equals Moon, blob also has red eyes, just like that. That's cool. Okay, that's a cool idea. I haven't really seen the blob be connected to Mimic in that way, but that's a cool idea. And it would be a perfect way to explain all the characters, because obviously the blob has, I think, most characters from the franchise, honestly, in that sense, like the biggest characters. I do hope the blob is somewhere in the newest FNAF game or the game after Ruin, because the blob was one of the only things that we don't really have any resolution for. Even the Mimic has more backstory now, finally. But the blob is just kind of there in that sense. Also staff bots, or the poor mail bot. Poor mail bot. You see, like, this is just such a cool segment, and I wish we got more of it where Jackie had a bigger role, honestly, with in the game in general. Because, yeah, she was the main character animatronic we saw with promotion. Only to have, I think, like 10 minutes, which is not much. Guys, it's the animatronics with cannons. That would be bombs in your belongings. That's interesting. Such a cool segment, too. I wish we got more of it. Because, yeah, I mean, I guess I was the only one who didn't really... I'm sure I wasn't the only one, at least, who was expecting more of Jackie. Or just didn't expect the Mimic to go straight into a different costume. But it's okay. Nonetheless, I still very much enjoyed the game. Puppet.
File redacted.
Is it file redacted?
This. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wait. Can I do the puppet one? Probably not.
Oh, yeah, and then also, for those who missed it, we
Cradle.exe.
now know what Mexis stands for. Mechanical X-Form Experimental Storage number 1. Very cool. We finally get this revealed. A long time afterwards, but at least we got it revealed. Okay, but now I want
See,
to
mechanical
look
X-Form
at
experiment.
the good ending. Let me pull that up really quick. Or at least I want to look into Moon.exe. Okay, so Moon.exe is, I think, one of the more interesting parts of Secret of the Mimic, and one of the coolest parts, honestly. Because this is a long kind of sequence of mini games and events. So starting at the beginning, I guess the first important thing to note is, yes, we most likely play as the Mimic. Your volume is very low. My mic volume or the game volume? I'm sorry, maybe I can... Is this better? Hopefully, sorry about that. If it is a bit lower. And then I'll turn it up a little bit on screen here. The Hope 1 and 2 teaser for Secret of the Mimic. Your mic, okay. Is it better now or is it still very low? The Hope 1 and 2 teaser for Secret of the Mimic, Shadow Bonnie being the Moon and Freddy being the Sun. Moon equals glitchtrap and Bonnie equals M2. If Sun equals Freddy, why is Fiona Glamrock Freddy since Gregory seems to be David reborn in a weird way? Okay. You bring up a lot of good points. I think all of your comments have things definitely worth pointing out. It's better. So yeah, no, I appreciate that. Sorry, I'll try to talk a bit louder, but in the mic. Okay, since I'm moving on live, I gotta get away from my mic. But I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me know. But yes, we most likely play as Mimic in Moon. And then Moon is most likely Edwin, who's keeping us locked in the room. And as we go further in the game, the baby owl is most likely David, who we can pet and then rescue. And the first thing I want to point out with a video that you guys will finally, see it tomorrow, the full version of it. But this is the statue that is most likely of Edwin and Fiona. God, David. I still need to watch that video. I haven't had the chance today since I've been with family, but I saw it and it looks great. The thumbnail was really cool. So I'm excited to see T-Dread's take on this crazy mystery. Let me know. What did you guys think of God David? So this is most likely Edwin. And then in front of it, we have this Fall Fest globe. Most likely meaning that the statue became burnt from Fall Fest, which I think was cool. And this is cool, like a little pond. Let's see, where is it? I'm sure Unwithered made the thumbnail for that video, and he indeed was. No, yeah, Unwithered made some, yeah. He has some really cool skills and things like that. The thumbnail is really cool. And I just love this reboot video. Like, the fact that was all Blender obviously inspired me to make my reboot series, but it's really cool. Yeah, he made some great stuff. Where is it? And then finally, yes, we know that Sun is Fiona. The video was awesome, and I truly believe this since the moment T-Dreads was streaming Secret Mimic the day of release. Nice, okay, cool. Yeah, no, I definitely had a good feeling about the video, and I'll make sure to tune in or watch it soon. But yes, I remember seeing a stream about that. And just the chaos of it I thought was really funny, because I think it was like a 4-hour stream, definitely, where he was just looking into God David. So yes, Fiona is most likely Sun, and especially here where we see... There you go, the sun. The same exact sun icon, kind of saying that, yes, either the program is the same as Sun, or saying that Fiona is actually Sun. FNAF and Help Wanted, instead of orange wallpaper, has the green wallpaper of the Secret Mimic house. Enter event repair starts with you in the prototype FNAF 1 pizza, then 6 locations below that. Oh, interesting. Yes, I know that was a theory way back then when people believe. I still kind of there's some evidence still that Ennard was Jackie. But I hadn't really thought about that being that Ennard was in the FNAF 1 prototype pizza. That's cool. Especially now, it kind of looks like it. Wait, I'm confused. Does the events in UCN happen after or before William's glitch trap and burn trap? If you're able to believe. It would definitely be before he was glitch trap or burn trap. That would have take place afterwards. He was, I guess we were able to say, somehow able to escape from his purgatory. Then he would come back as glitch trap and burn trap. So definitely after. Cries an Xbox user. Yes, I know. I don't know why they take so long to transfer over to Xbox and Switch, but I hope it's sooner than Security Breach and Help Wanted to. Do you think the sun is actually Fiona or just the mimic? I think she is actually Fiona. I guess especially with how we see her in M2 and kind of taking this almost, motherly role, you could even say. I definitely want to say she is Fiona. But again, it could honestly go with both ways for sure. Here we go. Where is it? I mean, yeah, this is a really cool segment in general because all of this is, I think, 12 minutes where you can just take so many different paths and something we've never really seen before done in FNAF games, so I thought this was cool. And then also, for those who don't know, here you are supposed to fix this statue, this examine broken statue, and you can place different parts in the statue, which it's assumed that this is actually the mimic rebuilding itself. Because at the end, once you actually repair yourself, when you have the head, all the arms, the moon statue sings and is reborn. It glows and glows until you know nothing but whites. So yeah, it's assumed that this is most likely after the mimic rebuilds itself, and then that's when we see the mimic now in the MCM manor. Very cool. Because yeah, again, we know Edwin destroyed the mimic because he was mimicking David, got frustrated and whatever it is. Same story with the books. And then the mimic would fix himself and then attack Edwin. The ending, if we read I'm too sorry, goes kind of made me. No, it was a very sad ending. We'll go over that soon here. But yeah, I think kind of just seeing the mimic in that state after running away from him all game is very sad. Just seeing him go to bed is, yeah, basically what David would have done. Sun does seem pretty caring towards Gregory, who happens to look a lot awful like David. Oh, while Moon is literally trying to catch him. Honestly, never thought I'd seen Sun and Moon. Me neither. That was definitely a good twist and something I didn't expect either. But that's a good point. Maybe that's the reason Eclipse, which is Sun and Moon, wants to help Cassie as well. Another person that could have reminded them of David. It's just Edwin and Fiona trying to save David. Yeah, that was peak, and I'm glad to see FNAF game that's completely narrative-driven and self-conclusive. Nice. Are you talking about the reboot? Who is... Seems to be Golden Freddy behind UCN Death Coin on Golden Freddy gives Fredbear. It is William's negligence that Crying Child died. Crying Child equals the one she killed. Honestly, yeah, it could go either way. Golden Freddy is still to this day to me is so confusing in that sense with things like that. Because obviously some believe it's Cassie, others Andrew, and then some believe it's Crying Child. I'm still more on the Cassie side. Because I think Crying Child is free during Happiest Day. Wally West lambs are she's on no concept of difficulty. I love Wally West. Fire. Okay, so by this point we're in MCM. And here we even see Jackie, which I thought was really cool and something I didn't expect. You hold up the rainy day boot and Jackie is sucked inside to disappear forevermore. So is this kind of a way of saying that after the event Secret Mimic that Jackie just disappears forever? I hope that isn't the case because I do want to see Jackie return once more. Especially because she didn't have that much screen time. So I hope this isn't the case and that we do see Jackie again. But the main thing to know is... Here you hand Big Top a admissions ticket. It's actually all Fall Fest. It's a collectible you can find. And we've never really seen this before, so I thought this was really cool when I first found out about it. It's the Secret of the Mimic, or it's the Fall Fest admissions ticket. So here you give the ticket to Big Top. And here he says, this is the one. This is where the sun left, leaving them behind. So obviously this is kind of saying that Fall Fest is where the sun left, leaving them behind. So we can assume that sun or Fiona died at Fall Fest and left her family, Edwin and David behind, which is really sad. And this is something I'll be talking in the video tomorrow. Was it on purpose? Who was it? Was it William? Probably. And why? And then you even see Dolly. You kind of almost like replaying the events of Secret Mimic, which is interesting. Wait, don't you believe that Golden Freddy could just have multiple souls in it? Oh yeah, yeah. I definitely still agree that it's Crying Child and Cassidy. Crying Child freed in Happiest Day, and then Cassidy torturing William Afton in Ultimate Custom Night. So yeah, definitely still two spirits. I don't know about more than two. I think it's probably just the two. But you never know, honestly. Here we go. And then here we go. This is really cool. You can even find the white tiger plushie. And then at the very end, you face Fiona or the son, who gives you the glitch permission. Also very cool. Wait, what about the kid from the new kid? The new kid? Oh, from the. Wait, you're talking about the book? Because with that, yeah. Another thing, just a Golden Freddy could honestly be. It could honestly go so many ways, and I know it's still being debated to this day. Yeah, I got you. Okay, new kid, yeah, from books. I still think it's the Crying. I want to say Crying Child and Cassidy, but again, there's just too many characters, I guess, where it could be, you know, one or the other inside of Golden Freddy. But I still lean towards it being Crying Child and Cassidy. Okay, one of the next things I want to talk about now is David, basically. Not God David. That's T Dread's theory, but I definitely want to see. I guess just the possession and the idea that David is actually possessing, the white tiger plush. Once I pull it up here.
Love was nearly lost until Pizza Hut showed up.
Go get her.
Also, who's that face that always seems to appear randomly UCN? That's the one you should not have killed, I think, if I said it correctly. That's the one torturing William in the Purgatory in UCN, most likely. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, because it looks like a male face, I guess that's why people lean towards being Andrew. But honestly, it could still go either way. But yeah, the one you should not have killed is just the face that shows up a few times in UCN or randomly.
Way, please. Oh, okay, nope, we're going this way. I think there's another way. This way. Please stop, dude.
And this segment, by the way, was very scary and very hard to beat, at least for me.
Light up. Oh my gosh. I'm running for this one.
So I guess the biggest evidence. Let me see if I can maybe find a segment where it happens. But obviously, when you face
in here, dude, I guarantee it.
the white tiger plush, you hear laughter of a child in the background, kind of saying that it could be possessed. Especially because it's something we don't really hear besides when it involves possession, especially with like Golden Freddy and then It's Me in the FNAF 1 office. Those sections scared me so badly. Me too. This one took me a while to beat, by the way. It was also hard and scary. This one took me a long time to beat.
Gosh, what is he doing?
You see, there you can kind of hear the laughter. I'll turn it up a bit.
That light went out? It's gone. Dude, I see the exit. Do I just go for it? No. Go this way. Oh my gosh. It's there. Go this way. All right, it's right there. I'm going for it. Give me it. Holy. Wait.
There you go. So yeah, again, you can just hear the children's laughter and even the way that the tiger plushie flashes on your screen. Something we don't really see besides Golden Freddy, and then the It's Me flashing on your screen as well. I don't know if it's just me, but the Moon in the segment walked really goofy, and he was just really goofy. No, I completely agree. I actually never faced the Moon because I took the parachute ending route and played the game where you almost avoid that section. But yes, I liked his voice lines, and the way he walks is very goofy. It's so surreal to see the possession elements, see the mimic elements. Yes, 100%. That's something I talk about with my girlfriend a lot, just the facts that at first it really did seem like possession, especially in Security Breach. The idea of possession, with Burn Trap or the Blob. But then with Ruin, and then now this game, you see kind of more it being mimicking, you know, and the mimic being multiple suits. But now it just seems like it's both, and I kind of like the idea of it being both. I don't think it has to be one or the other. And we can see possession and mimicry in both games, or both sides of FNAF, you know? So yes, possession, I think David definitely possessed the white tiger plushie here. Not only do we hear the laughter, but we also hear, you know, we also see the flashes on your screen, so it's definitely got to be possession. But question is, what happens to David afterwards, though, right? Because with every other soul possessing something in the franchise, we have some resolution, like Happiest Day where the souls are freed, or etc., you know. In FNAF 6 where we see the other souls being freed, you know, on the graves. What happened to David? Because we have years leading up to Ruin where we don't see David at all. Is the soul stuck somewhere inside of MCM, which would be the Pizzaplex? But again, we don't see David anywhere. The only other possession we could see is the blob, but I don't really think David is the blob here. If his possession is through Remnant, maybe he was freed with the manor burned down. Oh, that's a good point too. There you go. Perfect. Never mind. We have it answered. Thank you. Yeah, it honestly makes perfect sense. By the end of it, we do see the manor being burnt down. And like, yeah, again, what we know based on soul possession being tied to Remnant, the fire would technically set him free, which is good. And it would also set Sleepy Moon down free down in the down in the basement as well. So maybe that's why we also don't hear from him anymore. If Sun killed the owl at Fredbear's, does that mean that David Murray was killed at Fredbear's in an oven, or at least in Moon.exe? Sun did it, so David will possess him too. Why there? Interesting. Okay. Right. Yeah, that's another thing that I wish we knew more about how David died, and if it was really by getting ran over, like in the books. Because if David is tied into Fredbear's, or even like William killing whatever it is, or Fiona or Sun, you know, I wish we got more context to that. Because I don't necessarily think we're gonna get another game taking place in this time period. I think it makes more sense that we're gonna get one in the future, which is probably a video I'll do on as well. Let's see. Oh, Alienware. There are burners in FNAF 6. I don't know. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there are. And in Cassie, Ruin even calls them out, saying that they're strange. Because it's true. Why would burners be in the Pizzaplex? If it's obviously not to burn the souls down. Wow. Here we go. What do you think the next FNAF game would be about? Good question. I definitely think it will be about Cassie, Roxy, Gregory, and Vanessa in the sinkhole. Basically, the events after Ruin, facing off against the Mimic and Blob one final time. The only thing that catches me off guard or kind of strays me away from the idea is that we'd probably be returning to the Pizzaplex one more time, which feels repetitive, because at this point it would be the third project in the Pizzaplex, which seems like a lot because we've never really had one in the same location over and over, unless they take the route that the game takes place in the abandoned manor and we kind of explore the manor instead, which would be cool instead. Oh, look at the hearts. The burners could burn trap to be burnt. Yes, very burnt by the end of it. Still cannot believe we finally saw a canon Spring Bonnie design. Very different though from Springtrap, obviously, and Spring Bonnie that we've seen how wanted. Is this something that only us would understand the context of the full Steel era and not just this same time frame when Secret takes place? Owl leads M2, M2 Gregory leads Cassie, FNAF 6 same. Yes. Just building of all they described as cabins in the wood. Right, yeah, that's another thing that I was going to talk about is the cabin in the woods where we find Sun in. And then she gives us the masks of different animatronics. Maybe they want to deep fry Afton and make Kentucky Fried Chicken for Kentucky Fried Afton. Perfect. Honestly, if we're talking after a potential DLC, of when we get a new, smaller scale Fazbear's location with a new line of Freddy Chicken, however else is there. Right, yeah, that's kind of what I think will happen after the game, after that takes place after Ruin, because where does FNAF go, I guess? That's another great video or question. Where does FNAF go after the next game, you know? Because I'm sure the next game will be... I doubt we'll get more than two max, but maybe we'll get 1 or 2 games in the Pizzaplex or Fall Fest, whatever it is, taking down the Mimic. And that would be it. Your voice sounds much less dramatic in life. Thank you. I think. I'm actually not sure. No, I guess when I'm recording, I definitely I guess try to dramatic it out, if you will. Would it make sense that Fazbear goes for a small location like the first restaurants, all the big and cost pizza? That's true. They are definitely broke after the Pizzaplex because not only did it burn down, but they lost everything in it. So yeah, I agree. Would it be cool if we got like a mini game or something that shows us how the factory became the FNAF 6? Yeah, something like that would be a cool like DLC, you know? Just some DLC to fill up the time because not only do we have the Fall Fest, but we also have this time framer who laughs mentions kind of like how does FNAF 6 become, or the other way around, how the factory become FNAF 6, things like that where really could make for good DLCs and I think good horror games. But yeah, I have no idea where this franchise is gonna go after the next game. I do think it's gonna be rebooted in some way, and not just like Help Wanted a soft reboot, but like a full reboot. And that just, who knows what that's gonna look like. I don't think we'll go back to a point and click game. Definitely not where we are at this point. Especially if Steel or Scott Conte wants to stay with Steel Wolves. It seems like we're gonna keep getting 3D games, which I'm honestly fine with, because I do like these style of games because I think they're fun and definitely there's a lot to explore. Every William Afton variant burns: Springtrap in FNAF 3, Scraptrap in FNAF 6, Burn Trap and Security Breach, and Spring Suit and Secret Mimic. Oh, that's a good point. Something I just noticed now. You're right, which is kind of sad. It's kind of that same theme that always happens to William and Spring Bonnie. I like it. Cassie and Vanessa look so cute. I like the cartoon style that they have. They can't just be. Why can't they? Yeah, no. I wish they could all meet up in some way. You know, it's cool that Cassie, Vanessa, Gregory, and Roxy are all kind of in the same period now, especially with the next game. But Arnold is definitely left out. Arnold was definitely by himself, and it would have been cool if we saw him again. Maybe we'll see Arnold somewhere else in the game, or maybe just Cassie brings him up somehow. But that'd be cool. Is the reason why Mike goes to such location is because he inherited Afton Robotics, since he's the only heir to the company. Did Afton Robotics LLC turn into Fazbear Entertainment LLC if Mike is CEO? Oh, interesting. Actually, I hadn't thought about it like that. That Mike takes over. That's another question on its own. I've talked about it a couple times now. Is Michael Afton still alive, and is he a CEO or something like that? That Freddy and Fox reunion is gonna be awkward. Oh, I agree, 100%. Because although Freddy wasn't necessarily responsible for destroying Roxy, he definitely had some part with Gregory, and that's very. You see, yeah. I think the interactions and the potential for that can be so funny. Just imagine Roxy or even Cassie confronting Gregory. Like, did Gregory really cut down the elevator? And if he did, that interaction with Cassie is going to be so awkward. Because he tried to kill her to stop the mimic, which, fair enough? I don't really know. Not really. Yeah, so let's talk about that since I think, Secret Mimic is interesting, but I also want to talk about where we're going to go next. It's funny because I originally planned this stream with talking about Mexis, but I just love the ideas and comments that you guys bring up. So we're going to talk about where FNAF goes next, actually. Let's bring this up. Okay, so here is the ruin ending. Okay, so by this point, man, I'm so sorry. I feel like I can not get a break with these ads. Either way, they seem to have changed the style. Fiona and Edwin look too different to Security art style. Also, in the game itself, it looks a little inconsistent. Oh, that's interesting. That's fair, yeah. Security Breach and Secret Mimic is definitely different in style, and it's just, I guess, I don't know how that translates going back to the Pizzaplex, because again, I do think we're going to go back to the Pizzaplex, so I don't know how it's all going to look. Cassie's going to go on her villain arc when she sees Gregory again. I honestly think so, yeah, because you can't really come back from that. Cassie should be, oh my god, maybe, because I talked about this in my last video, but I do think this was Gregory, by the way. I don't know what you guys think, but I do think this was the actual Gregory who cut the elevator, meaning that he just tried to kill Cassie because of the mimic. But I think here, this is one of the rooms we can find in the manor. I think if you really tried hard enough to line it up with one of the rooms, you'll be able to find the exact same one. But just now that we have Secret of the Mimic and like the whole layout of the MCM, like this just looks very similar to the layout and the design of the manor. So, oh yeah, another bit of evidence from MCM under Pizzaplex. If you turn the volume all the way up in the Mimic's lair with the mask on, you can hear Jackie's music box. Crazy foreshadowing. I did not know that. That is really cool. Wow. That is crazy foreshadowing. No, yeah, they definitely had it planned out since the beginning. Because I think the cool piece of evidence that we didn't know about until now, let me see if we can find it here really quick, is the prize boxes. They have the exact same pattern for the Secret of the Mimic carpet or Jackie's carpet, whatever you want to call it. And this was, I think 2 year, no. When was this? 2023? So yeah, 2 years before Secret of the Mimic ever was released. I think that's really cool. 1997, Vanessa being 23 was added to the games file in 2020. Oh, 2020 minus 23 in 1997. Ness is in 26 in Security Breach. So it takes place in March of 2023. Open for nearly 5 years, so open 20 ideas. Okay, interesting. Honestly, yeah, it makes sense. I definitely agree that it takes place either 2025 to 2025 or 2023 to 2025. Sorry, but I do like the idea of it being nearly open though for 5 years in 2018. That would make sense as well, because the Pizzaplex definitely has been open for some time before we get there. Because they are well established. They have a bunch of locations open, a bunch of characters, so that makes sense. Would you reckon that Michael is Rockstar Freddy? Oh, actually, I haven't seen really much, I guess, evidence towards that, but I'd be interested to see what you have to say, because, yeah, that'd be cool. Because I think Michael definitely still has to be around. I mean, we do see his room in Security Breach, so, I mean, sure, it would have been a nice ending if he was put to rest, but I hope he's somewhere at least. Here's my idea. What if a Fall Fest game will take place in 1983 due to Help 101 DLC, and we will play as Henry before Fall Fest burns down? Yeah, you see, that'd be cool. I like the idea of a Fall Fest DLC. Even one that takes place in like 1979, but I really wish we can play as Henry. Maybe Henry can like retrieve the computer or Mexis, whatever. Because Henry is like one of the only people that we don't really have that much context on, and I wish we could get more of him. But yeah, here we go. This definitely in the manor. And here is Mexis. What I thought was gonna happen was that Mexis, in Secret of the Mimic at least, that we would have found this exact same room and this exact same layout, and then it would have led to ruin. But no, I think it's I think it's hard to say that this room is the same as, this room. Because this is more of an office versus the other one really isn't. So this supercomputer, I think it's definitely safe to say that it was moved by someone and then kind of moved to this other location, still in the manor though, I think. Do you think Michael's room being in Security Breach is actually Michael's room now that we know the locations are buried in the same place and next to each other? I don't think it's his actual room, even though there are the same locations, just because it looks very new and things like that. But I do think Michael definitely lived in there. I think it is a recreation of Michael's room that he actually did live in. The Freddy Masquerade, yes, I saw that, and I talked about them in a few of my videos, but it does say the year. I thought he said 2035, but 2015 could also make sense. Ness has a purple plaid shirt and some endings. Yes, I was pointing out a good point. That Vanessa has the same purple jacket plaid shirt, and the good ending of Ruin, and then in that photo. More evidence for Security Breach 2023. Fair enough. Scott should make a special video titled William and Henry Q&A. Yes, I agree. We need so much more answers and context from them both. We still don't know what's up with the weird code in Michael's room, right? I think we do have it translated now, but how or what it means, not really. Well, I guess the closest thing is really just how to play Security Breach, what it looks like. Because it's telling you to dodge and run from these things, and I guess it's just one way to play Security Breach. You know, you're running and crouching from them. But yeah, no, honestly, in the context, no, not really what it means. Isn't Henry technically taking F1... Damn, I don't think about it like that. If it is Henry took it, yeah, everyone's got to watch out. Okay, but let's look back to the Ruin ending. This is a really cool segment, by the way. I remember when this first came out and playing it. Very unexpected, because not really something we've seen before. Okay, but by this point, we're totally inside of the manor now, 100%, you know? Wow. Another ad. Sorry, guys. So many. Two. The 5 goes through the 1 at the top of it, and the 1 is you'll see it now. Okay. Gregory's always so mean. Right, yeah, even since Security Breach, I don't think he's necessarily been the nicest one. I mean, he did destroy all the animatronics. Here we go. Yeah, by this point, we're totally inside of the manor, I think we can assume. Because we do find the mascot suits here. And when you look at them, I mean, that looks decades old, so it definitely has never left the manor, and just more evidence. But so this is what's interesting, because Gregory, let's see. Because again, here, just look at these walls and the door. Not really the door, I would say, but more the layout definitely resembles that of the manor. Let's see. But this is interesting because I've seen some people point out that this is would actually be an elevator we'd be able to find inside of the manor, which would make sense. Because say Greg or Cassie was successful to take it, then she'd probably be somewhere else in the manor, which is cool to think about. And maybe that's where the next game could take place, you know? Say somehow Roxy saves Cassie and takes her up to this area, or this elevator leads to, and that would be where the game takes place. Roxy, my beloved. Roxy got done dirty in the first game, but I'm glad she has some redemption and ruin. Haha, ads. I know, so many ads, I'm sorry. But yes, what do you guys think? Could this elevator possibly lead us to somewhere else in the manor? Or was it just simply taking us back to the Pizzaplex? Because obviously this is also interesting because this looks like older tech, honestly, compared to what we have in Security Breach. But we don't really see anything like this in Security Breach or in the manor. So I guess to me it makes more sense that this does come from this time period, but it's still very old because this maybe could have been put in when they first opened the Pizzaplex, like what, a couple years, and that's why it looks a bit older. But same thing, what could have been there was the data driver doors and the data driver hole, but now it's more upgraded to match the style, you see? There is a lake besides the manor, besides the underground Pizzaplex. If the person that is unnamed and ruined is Edwin, he could be Old Man Consequences. Yes, I saw that, and that's something else to talk about in my last video, is that the lake from the Help Wanted Dreadbird DLC, which is very similar to the Old Man Consequences DLC, is in front of the manor, so that would be cool. A lot of Edwin's tech has the same coloring Pizzaplex of yellow and blue and Secret of the Mimic. Yeah, that's a good point. They definitely took a lot, and I guess to me it's more evidence that the manor is under here, because the Pizzaplex could just take it, you know, and remodel it to what they needed. Imagine Jackie returns since we never... Yes, that's something we discussed earlier in the stream. Jackie is the only animatronic we don't see what happens to him. So what if they're going to be in this next game? And we can see the Mimic go back in like the original Jackie suit. Also, the Mimic has a very different design to what we saw in Secret of the Mimic, which I thought was pretty funny. I get why they have a design, because different designs, because this is what, definitely 60 years apart, maybe more. But I thought they look a bit more similar, especially in the head shape, but nonetheless, I like both designs a lot. You made a video where you said that Old Man Consequences is next to Afton sells Midnight Motors, right? Yes, I did say that, yeah. I think that was in the original Old Man Consequences video, or one of the newer ones. But yeah, I definitely talked about how that lake was in front of the Afton's house. And it is in front of the MCM manor, which lines up with the Afton house, so it's perfect. The Mimic in Secret Mimic looks like a frog. He does look like a frog. Here, I'll show you guys the difference again. Let's get... Okay, so there is the Ruin Mimic, and here is the Secret of the Mimic. Once I find a good picture, here we go. Okay, here we go. So this is very different. I mean, again, looks like a frog here, and it's very different. I mean, even just the chests, because I'm sure obviously the Mimic would have repaired itself a lot of times, but it is very different to this. So I wonder how this turned into that. I mean, even the teeth in the face don't line up at all, so it's really interesting to see. Because, yeah, I know it's 60 years, but what happened to the Mimic? Did it return to the manor for some reason? Did it go back? Why would it go back? And why would it stay there? Terminator, Rio. The animatronics in Rockstar Row might have been the prototype FNAF 1 gang. Oh, that is... Wow, that is a great point that I haven't thought about. Wow. John Cena's ball. I feel like I'm going to mention you a lot in my next video because that's some great points. Wow. Yes, because I talked about Rockstar Row a lot. I think I made 3 videos on it talking about a missing eye in kind of these FNAF 1 parts. And obviously you can say that they did come from FNAF 1 animatronics, but it makes a lot more sense that they're prototype animatronics that we saw in Secret of the Mimic because it's under the Pizzaplex. Wow. I'm using a PC. Yes, I'm on my PC right now. That I've had for a few years. Maybe it could be because either M2 in a future FNAF game prequel game gets damaged and uses some parts over the years, or Rune Mimic is actually M3, a second option. Not likely. Yeah, that's fair. I have seen some people definitely believe that as well. That's a third Mimic, but that would make things even more confusing. So I definitely hope it's just the first option, that he remodeled himself a lot over time. M2 also does lose an arm in the elevator, so we already can tell this suit has M2. Yeah, you're right, yeah. I guess in that sense, definitely easier to replace itself. Chad John Cena, right? There you go. No. So yeah, so in this moment, I guess I want to know what you guys think, because I still know it's divided. But right here, is this Gregory cutting the elevator, or is it the Mimic mimicking Gregory? What do you guys think? The Mimic look in the prototype FNAF 1 lineups with the M2 and Princess Quest with the Chica mask on his face. The Mimic seems to be in a loop of mimicking itself. Oh, that's a cool idea. Maybe that's why it's so violent, you know, it just, in that sense, like, can't be fixed. The Mexis machine got transported in a van at the end of Help Wanted 2 update, so I don't know if they're the same exact location. That's a good point, yeah, that's true. Because in that sense, why would it be in a van? Would it be taking you to another place? So in that sense, yes, everything doesn't line up perfectly. But I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of evidence that does prove it's under, you know, so it's hard to say that, yeah, because, I mean, I think we can agree that Mexis is one machine and not two. So how would the machine end up in a van and then back to the manor? You're right. It's hard to say. Be careful, bro. Next time Scott might see your comment is like, well, might as well add one more. Right, yeah, we're going to have M3 and M4 soon. I think it's F10/M1 sending Cassie down to the costume manor to find a way to stop M2. Cassie does have a piece of M2 now in the form of its arm. Oh, that's true, yeah. Right, yeah, we could see in the next game Cassie go up somehow, you know, with the help of whoever it is, and then kind of maybe use a part of the Mimic to help defeat it. Or Mimictosis. The Mimic from the static, the same when Fiona took over the road dispatch, the Mimic cutting the elevator. That's fair. Yeah, I know, yeah, this piece is definitely hard to debunk, you know, especially because also the subtitles stack up on top of each other. My only issue with this is I like the idea of Gregory cutting the elevator, because it definitely something we wouldn't expect, you know, and that was like kind of the whole point of the twist, that the person we thought we are trying to rescue and someone we even played as in the last game is betraying us and is being the villain. So that's why I really like that, you know, instead of just the Mimic doing something bad like it's always done, this is a good person who we thought at least doing something bad. So I think it's much more compelling in that sense and better for the narrative. But lore-wise and evidence-wise, yeah, it definitely looks like the Mimic cut the elevator. So much conflicting evidence flow. No, I agree, yeah. Especially with Mexis, because it's in one place that looks like it's the manor, but then we see it in the van, but then we never see anyone take the Mexis in Secret of the Mimic with the van. So I feel like we're just missing a chunk of time, and I'm sure that would explain Mexis or even the Mimic going back. That's what we need. Of DLC that takes place right after Secret of the Mimic kind of tells us what happens and how it leads to ruin. Gregory was always sus from Secret. Yeah, exactly. That's another thing, you know. He wasn't necessarily a good person. He did destroy the animatronics and wasn't really remorseful about it. And so it's not really that out of character for him to cut the elevator. So I do think it could be him. I don't know if you know, but there's a cut line where Gregory says, but make sure it doesn't follow you, instead of what he actually says. Really? I did not know. That's cool. Interesting. Okay. But make sure it doesn't follow you. Okay. It seems as though Mexis never left the building since it is MCM down there. That might be the remains of the proto pizzeria enter in and the Mimic and Ruin, at least in the same building. No, that's what I thought for sure, that this is the same location, meaning that Mexis never left. Even just taking a look at it, it looks like Mexis is really old and has kind of been in the same spot for decades, which would make sense again. But that room just doesn't line up with this one, unfortunately. That's my biggest thing, you know? Here, I go back to it. Where we find Mexis. Yeah, you see, like, this room just, where the Mexis ends up in, just doesn't really line up with, this room here. Really, you're gonna, okay. Because this is, again, like, the office with the monitors behind it, versus here we find Mexis kind of, like, in a corner of a bigger room. So it's hard to say. I definitely can say confidently that the Mimic never left the manor, or the Mexis never left the manor, but why would it end up in a different spot, and why would someone move it there? There's things like that just really don't line up as neatly as I'd like it to. If Mimic cut the elevator in Ruin, why would it risk losing an escape route? That's another good point. Because the elevator would be the only way to get out, and I don't think he would destroy it just to kill Cassie. And Gregory knowing that it's only an escape route, that makes more sense that he'd destroy it or cut it off. Well, the mimic can just leave from the way that Cassie came from. That's what I thought too, but I'm pretty sure that elevator also stopped working. It's only like one way, is what they say, that it can only work one time. But maybe he can only just climb, because it does look like the mimic can do anything. Just it doesn't seem that hard for him to just climb his way out of the Pizzaplex, honestly. What you reckon the mimic would do if he got out of the Pizzaplex? That's a great question. Right, what would the mimic do? Would he just start like going on a rampage and hurting random people, or does he kind of have a goal? Because if the manor is under the Pizzaplex, then that's kind of always been its home. The only other thing I can see is maybe it wants to return to the FNAF warehouse, which is Edwin's mansion, and that's why it wants to leave so bad. It wants to go home like David, and that'd be cool. Oh, I just thought about that. What if, like, in the next game we would go back to FNAF warehouse, you know, and like kind of the remains of it, because the mimic wants to go back. It lines up with FNAF 1 security office. Yeah, this definitely lines up with security office. I just wish, I'm telling you, I wish these were the same, because then we could definitely say that it never left and it's just a different program. But it's hard to say that now. The Pizzaplex staff seem to have changed everything with the boarded up rooms with the megaphone in the elevator with the Pizzaplex logo. Right, yeah. Some things are definitely different with what they remodeled, but I like how there are still some details kind of telling us that it is the manor. I wonder if F10 and 4 ever found out M2 killed Edwin's secret mimic. Honestly, it doesn't look like it, because the entire time F10 talks to us, it seems like they believe that Edwin is alive. You know, it's like, tell Edwin I love him, tell Edwin about the cradle system, you know, to stop the mimic, fix the mimic. It doesn't really know. Actually, now that I think about it, it would be hard for him to climb out of there with one arm. That's a good point. They just lose an arm. Maybe he'll find like another arm and that's how he can use it. Hey, welcome Angelo Games. It would be interesting for Cassie to now navigate a ruin MCM where that very plumbers to mix the next game. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking about. That's what I hope we get in the next, like, Security Breach 2, whatever you want to call it. That's next game, you know? Like you said, full circle, going back to the manor. And then we could even see, like, Jackie, things like that, where we didn't really have an answer for in Secret of the Mimic. Is the Mimic ever called the Mimic in the games? That's a good point. I don't know, actually. I know that sounds bad as a theorist, but in the games, from my knowledge and what I played, it's mainly only called M1 and M2. And in later games, like in Ruin, it's only called, like, the Thing, you know? It's... People just say that it mimics thing, but I don't ever think it's actually been called the mimic. Did F10 win emo? Right, when emo after losing Edwin. I wonder how that would work, like finding out that Edwin is gone, or if it would even believe it. If Arnold dies and is stuffed into the Fredbear Springlock suit, he is the one possessing Glamrock Freddy. If he is Cassie's dad and she's around 12 in 2023, he would be in his 50s in the early 2010s. Interesting, okay. I do, right, because at the end of, that's a good point, because at the end of, I guess the bad ending, we do see him stuffed in his suit, but was it Springlock or was it the Fredbear suit? Because if it is Fredbear, that makes perfect sense, that he would then possess that, and then could be reused into the Glamrock Freddy. Wow. John Cena, is it okay if I use your idea? Of course, I'll give you credit, maybe like a Glamrock Freddy video, and I can use your ideas. Is that fine? Because I definitely want to talk about that more. Just to confirm, the prototype... We did see the FNAF 1 characters Secret Mimic, weren't, or were they the same FNAF 1 characters? I'm gonna say that they most likely were the same, but I talked about it in one of my last videos. So Fiona most likely designed the FNAF 1 animatronics for Fazbear's. Fazbear's kept delaying it and said no. So then they come up with the FNAF toys animatronics, so forth. There's some time period. But most likely after Henry and William split from the company, where Henry then had to work on a smaller budget because he ran out of money, you know, with whatever happened in FNAF 2 location. Then he would use the leftover FNAF 1 prototype animatronics, remodel them, and use them in FNAF 1. So I do think they are the same animatronics. But at the same time, it might not be. It could also just be that Henry used like the blueprints for the prototype 1 animatronics and remodeled them from different animatronics, you know? So I'm gonna go with they are the same, I think. Yep. Okay, cool. Thank you, John Cena's ball. I appreciate it. Again, I'll give you credit, and I appreciate all the thoughts. Are great. Imagine Mimic had rabbits here to prove that he's glitchtrap. Yeah, something like that. You know, I just wish we had some evidence proving that he was glitchtrap, because I think that's something that was definitely missing. So Secret Mimic explains the whole story if you don't have to read the books. Honestly, yeah, it could help you to read the books, but it's not necessary either, which I kind of liked. But now the only bad thing is like, because obviously the books do have some influence and some canonicity to the games, so now it's just finding out which parts and which parts aren't. Bronze Films, do you see possible? God, if you just imagine. Do you see possible the God David theory? If yes, then could you imagine David being the one you should not have killed? Interesting. Yeah, I definitely need to watch the video, but based on what I've seen him talk about in streams and kind of just publicly, it definitely looks really cool. And I guess it gives David so much bigger role in like all games, which I love, like including the one you should not have killed, or connecting Gregory, all these things which are really cool, and I love the idea of it. So I gotta watch it soon. Just got an ad for FNAF Dead by Daylight. I'm sorry about the ad, but I think it's perfect time. Now. I also want to maybe do a stream on Dead by Daylight because the DLC or it just does look amazing, and Springtrap is great in that kind of as a killer. I think it works great. Part of me thinks that the proto FNAF 1 pizzeria is actually just a film set. I saw a lot of MCM cameras, so that's a cool idea too. Yeah, because I think for sure it was never meant to be like an open location. Especially because there are rooms where he's just like working on things. There's just endoskeletons out and about. I definitely don't think it was supposed to be meant to be an actual pizzeria, so that's a cool idea, kind of just used for commercials. I like that a lot. That's a cool idea. I like that. Not even just cameras, there's a lot of cutouts of balloons and other things. Yeah, exactly, things that like film set, that were fake and just there kind of as props. What is the God David theory again? Can someone sum it up? I haven't seen it yet, but it is a theory by T-Dreads. He uploaded it earlier today in the day. I'm pretty sure, again, I haven't seen it yet, but based on what I've seen in his streams, it's more or less a theory how David can connect to the other games, through like Gregory even being a robot, or I think he might even connect David to the Crying Child. So I say it's worth a watch 100%. You should watch it after the stream for sure. The events look the same. The battery acid looks like the recycled juice from Secret Mimic. Some of the rooms seem really old. It seems as though the Pizzaplex is just a fixed up version of the same. Yes, thank you. No, yeah, I definitely have been a strong believer of that since we knew since basically after the demo was released, we had an idea of what the warehouse would look like. I've always thought that they were the same. It seems to be connected. Yes, I agree. I'm gonna survive 5 nights if I be dead by daylight. Yes, I know. You gotta survive by daylight. Petting the Cleanovac on one hand was definitely the best. Yes, I agree. Whenever I saw Cleanovac, I would definitely take the time to pet him. Gotta thank him for all the hard work. It's pretty cool how it's all us and you can come together and just talk about FNAF theories. No, yeah, I definitely love it. Yeah, and that's why again I want to do more streams because this is a lot of fun to me. Just hearing your guys' thoughts and talking about FNAF is great. I think it's really fun. So I definitely more theories coming in the future. Don't worry. And I appreciate all you guys tuning in. It's just fun talking about it. And again, just some great theories coming from you guys that I'm definitely gonna use in future videos. And again, all of you guys will get credit. Well, I'm just talking. I don't even I was thinking back to where I'm gonna look now. Let's see.
Yeah, you are.
Still be useful.
No.
My communications with
I do want to look at what John Cena's ball was talking about earlier. Let's look at the bad ending. Let's see. And go from there. On a system level, the storyteller makes stories. The Puppet Show Maker program does the same thing. The tree is on the door, and PQM2 seems to be controlling the Pizzaplex with this program. Right, no, yeah, the storyteller is definitely still in the story somewhere. And I do think that's a part of the books that is canon to the games, for sure. Let's see. Okay, let's give the other endings a watch. After T-Dreads played the game, I did watch the God Davis stream afterwards, but it was a bit confusing because they were looking at PowerPoint than watching videos. That's fair enough. Yeah, I guess in the early stages, when you're like putting theory together, it can be confusing. But yeah, definitely give the full video a watch. I'm gonna watch it after this myself as well because it does look really good. Have you watched the FNAF Times Joy of Creation remix collab music video? I have not, but I think I heard about it. I also need to give that a watch. Thank you. Okay, here we go. On the bad ending, I'm pretty sure this is when you give the data driver, to who you think is the dispatch, and then when you get in the car, it is definitely not. I think this is very sad.
You answer. Fazbear Entertainment has no other option but to let you go.
What? I just talked to you. You told me to give you the data.
Well, Arnold gets tricked again.
And
Here we go. And then so forth, so forth. And then looking in the back, there's the Mimic, which is a really cool reveal, by the way. And the Mimic just kind of grabs you. Arnold, my Shayla. Haha, teasers using cardboard, so funny. Use that. Right? Yeah, I saw it too. It's funny. Okay, right. So is this Fredbear or the Spring Bonnie mascot? Oh wait, is that Mexis? I mean, is that the mimic? My boy Arnold has no good ending. I know. Even in the bad ending or the good ending, he's just kind of left there. It's not the best. Arnold, my beloved, I know. Very interesting that Tales from Pizza Plex and Book M1, M2 were different mimic endos. The games 01. Yes, yeah, definitely interesting that, again, the games probably aren't canon in the books because there's so many differences. The ending had the best music. Oh, yeah, 100%. The fact that Arnold is probably just floating arms is criminal. Real. I haven't actually gotten to the secret ending, but I don't mind watching it here. Yeah, no, we'll definitely go through. Don't worry. And I think I definitely like it. Teachers did make a theory about how David submitted Cranchild. Then he said that William was likely jealous of how good ending Edwin was with technology bringing back wife through. Yeah, right. Edwin. I mean, William definitely stole a lot from Edwin, and jealousy, I also agree, had a part in. The Monty Springlock suits has a stomach hatch and shoulder pads. All the things that survive the fire, most part seem to be. Yeah, no, yeah, definitely, yeah. This area, I think, is the same as the ruin. Just what's left of it, at least. Yes, exactly. We definitely need the place for the secret mimic chase music. I know. John Cena is bald. You can help me out with this. Is this a Fredbear or a Spring Bonnie suit? I think this is it Spring Bonnie because of the 4 teeth? Or does Fredbear also have 4 teeth? Now I need to look again. Let's see. We no, actually, teacher said M1 Fiona and William are trying to revive David through Crying Child. Oh, okay, interesting, cool. You see, like, ideas like that are very interesting. I like connecting this newer game to the old one. I think it's Fredbear. Yeah, me too. Let's see. I'm gonna check again now. I'm just gonna pull up the video where I talk about this, just cause I'm pretty sure I have a clip in there where you go inside that.
If you're in the trades and you rely, well,
and Spring Bonnie, which is actually
really?
one of the few times
Okay.
we've seen canon designs for both these characters. A major reveal. During the gameplay,
I always cut it out right when he gets in the suit. No.
That Fredbear's family designers opened during this time. We find pizza boxes from this location and posters inside of the manor. So based on everything with the
let's see if maybe here he goes inside the
designs
suit.
were retconned. But now we know they all exist separately and were created by different people, which now finally brings me to
Never mind. We're gonna have to find another video maybe. I think it's Fredbear and how wanted it is Freddy. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly where the stand-in is. We're supposed to use that context to know who we're wearing. Where is that? Where are you seeing from my Fredbear? Oh yeah, this is in the prototype FNAF 1 pizzeria down in the research development area. And right now I'm trying to find out if we're inside Fredbear or Spring Bonnie. I use DaVinci Resolve. I think that's how I say DaVinci Resolve. Maybe I was saying it wrong, but that's what I use. I've used it for I think a year now, a good year and a half. And I think it's really good. I know they use CapCut, which also is good. I used to use it, but I mainly use DaVinci Resolve. And then, yeah, and then I also use Blender for some animations as well. But still trying to get good at that. So does Fredbear's already exist during Secret Mimic? Yeah, it definitely does. You can find like pizza boxes from Fredbear's Family Diner, and then also a poster advertising that it's open. So it's definitely open by this point. Okay, we are gonna find a clip of us going through one of the suits. Let's see.
With Edwin have been severed.
I'm using Clipchamp right now. Take a
He
look
shut
at it. So yeah, I
himself
definitely
away
think you should. It's
from
definitely, it might take a while to get used to it first, you know, because so much is going on right when you jump in. But once you get a hang of it, I think it's pretty good. You can do so much with it. So I say, yeah, it's worth giving it a try. Okay. Let's see. Let's see when he goes inside one of the suits. Aha, no, yeah, you're right, yeah.
University of Maryland
Wow, another ad.
is a school
I feel like
for
every time I
real
skip
life,
to a
one
scene,
that
I get an
values
ad.
the successes you've already
How old is
achieved. Earn up to
Fazbear's?
90 undergraduate credits for relevant.
I guess Fredbear's was the oldest that comes out, probably early 1970s. So by the point in Ruin, it's 60 or 70 years old. Anyone see the new Godzilla x Kong? I did not. Is it out, really? I have not seen that trailer. I might give it a watch.
There's another animatronic behind here. What is this? Oh my
Okay,
god.
so here we go. Fredbear.
Is this who I think it is? No way, right?
Okay, yeah, that is definitely the suit we just saw right now. Here we go. Okay, yeah, that is definitely the same suit we saw here. Okay, perfect. So this is the Fredbear, meaning Arnold might possess the Fredbear suit, which could then become Glamrock Freddy, like John Cena's bald suggest. Nice, cool. The arm glitch low. The prototype FNAF 1 location looks more like Cup 1 and Lobby's version to me. No, yeah, me too, which is interesting. Because obviously that's like in a virtual world, so I wonder how that could connect to the FNAF 1 location. But then what's up with the Springlock Fredbear and Bonnie? Did Fazbear just want to try a new type of animatronic, or did they use mascot custom Fredbear? I think what we see here, probably the very, very first version of what they would look like. And then I'm sure Edwin, William, and Henry remodeled them and refined them to what we see in Fredbear Family Diner. So these are just, I'm sure, the very first versions. And the final versions are what we see in Fredbear's Family Diner. The hill with the Mimic and David is the same hill from the endings of Security Breach. If the Mimic is Fiona in that, Hope 1 and 2 teaser, Sun equals Freddy, Sun equals Fiona, then Fiona's Glamrock Freddy. You see, that's another cool thing. What if Fiona's Glamrock Freddy? Because in that way she takes like Glamrock Freddy takes this role protecting Gregory, which Fiona would see as David. So yeah, I might make a future video where I talk about Glamrock Freddy and talk about if it's Fiona or now Arnold. Yeah, I was thinking that too, that tree being there, Toy Story's MCM is below everything. Yeah, exactly, right? Same exact tree. Again, all places are connected in that sense. FNAF 1 had their own Fredbear and Spring Bonnie Springlock suits anyways. Freddy Fazbear used to be Fredbear from Fredbear's Singing Show. Yeah, there you go, exactly, yeah. Fredbear's Singing Show was technically the first location that might even predate MCM. Or probably open around the same time. It's very interesting that in the ending, Summer Hope 101 ending doesn't mean Glitch Trap is M2. I definitely think it does, yeah. Sorry, I just got rid of the ending. But pulling this up again, yeah. It's very similar to the ending in Hope Wanted, where the player steps into the Freddy suit, which is Fredbear here, and then the Mimic or Glitch Trap is off to the distance. Very cool. And even just the way the Mimic is staring at us, because Glitch Trap just dances and walks around, it's almost like, it's very similar, I think. It's kind of the same, almost the same. Before this game came out, I was really wanting to see Fredbear's Singing Show game. Right, yeah, anything in that early era, where we play as William and Henry could be really cool, so I hope we get something like that. The Hope Wanted layout seems to be implied as the first location layout. Okay. Also makes sense that the Mimic program creates the Mimic layout in Tucson MCM. Right, yeah, I agree. Right now, it's also worth, looking back to Hope Wanted in that kind of location. I just love how we're finally getting a bigger, a picture of all these games and how they're connected. I see Fredbear being in the same as Freddy possible, but I want to see it in game to believe it. Right, yeah. I think, I guess in that early era where Fredbear Singing Show was Freddy, having some confirmation there, or some idea what that looked like would be nice. Fredbear's Family Diner and Silver Eyes opened in 1979. Fredbear Singing Show could have just been the cabin in the woods before that point. Oh, I never really considered connecting cabin. That's cool. Okay, nice. I just wonder here, because this game takes place in 1979 for sure, based on the teaser. But it looks like it's been open for some time, maybe even years, so that's why I'm debating when Fredbear's would open. Does mean M2 got a yellow rabbit addiction help 1-in-1, like how Afton developed a Spring Bonnie. Right, yeah, it's interesting why the Mimic chose Glitch Trap, especially when there's other suits like the Jester, which to me would have made a lot more sense, representing itself as, so why Glitch Trap? Well, there's definitely has to be some connection to Afton, but we still don't know what it is. In the files of the game, there was a deleted line from Arnold saying how his parents died and divorced. Yes, that is very cool. For those who don't know, I personally believe that Arnold is Cassie's grandfather, because in the line he says how he hasn't seen his dad or his kid in forever, which could be Bonnie Bro, Cassie's dad. And the reason Michael Afton and Bonnie Bro are friends as kids, like in the pizzeria, is because their parents both worked for Fazbear's Entertainment, William obviously being the CEO, and then Arnold, Bonnie Bro's dad, working as a technician. And that's why they're friends. That's why they're in the Pizzaplex together, or Pizzeria, sorry. Why is there a layout of FNAF 3 in the lower levels? People are crazy. Yeah, that's good detail. I personally think it's just to say that the FNAF 1 location and FNAF 3 Pizzeria are the same, I guess just by saying that they have the same layout. Because I know it is something that is still debated, but I think that's finally confirmation, saying that the FNAF 1 location is the same 30 years later Pizzeria we see in FNAF 3 with Springtrap. I think that's what it's trying to tell us, but it could mean something more as well. Oh, I know being scrapped probably means it's not canon anymore, but who could Arnold kid be new important? Arnold's kid is definitely Bonnie Bro from FNAF 4, I think, because that's what I think at least, you know, because then Bonnie Bro would be Cassie's dad. So kind of having almost one, I think it's the idea of family, you know, having one family take on Mimic, because Arnold will take on Mimic in this game, Bonnie Bro will take on Mimic and help on it too, and then Cassie will take on Mimic and Ruin. Kind of having this one family take on Mimic, but all failing basically. Maybe M2 is a Spring Bonnie. JK. From what I can guess, the prototype FNAF 1 pizzeria has probably had plans to introduce more characters while keeping the originals. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Definitely having Monty there, the Spring-like animatronic, and then what was it, Bub? Also having the dog animatronic. So it definitely looked like it was gonna be 6 or maybe even more. I think Steel Wool and Scott finally being on the same page will help significantly. A lot more consistency with pizza relocation. Yes, I agree. Because Security Breach, you know, just even on what Scott told us in the interview where he gave them parts of the story and then kind of left it up to them to make it in their vision, which is different from his. So, but obviously, like you said, he learned from it. And yes, we're finally getting some coherent story, which is very good. Because it's making a lot more sense. And again, the pieces are finally falling in place together, which is great. Arnold being Cassie's grandfather would be so crazy. The whole generation ends up in the web of Fazbear. Yes, exactly, yeah. And in that sense, they're all technically in the same location. Because although this ending isn't canon, or it could be canon. Maybe it could be canon in some way. Because maybe even after the and parachute ending where Arnold's left in the van, Mimic could take him, put him in the suit. Arnold is in this suit. Cassie's dad, Bonnie Bro, is in the staff bot, and then Cassie's stuck in the pizzeria, you know? They're all in this pizzaplex at some point or in like the manor, which is also kind of a cool, you know, theme, saying that they're all in the same place. Arnold be like, avenge me, my son. Right, yeah, and then Bonnie Bro would tell Cassie to avenge him as well. Exactly. Arnold is related to Bonnie being his favorite from the bobblehead of Spring Bonnie. It seems to be implying so far Arnold Cassie's dad. It could be Bonnie Bro from Foxy. Right, yeah, so no, yeah, the Spring Bonnie, I think this is the closest thing to liking Bonnie, you know? But I think timeline-wise, it makes more sense that he's Cassie's grandfather, not father, just because if this takes place in 1970, and at earliest, Security Breach could take place in 2020s, there's definitely like a good 40-year time jump where it makes sense that he's the grandfather. Or just an old dad, who knows? Literally a family fighting against Fazbear Entertainment. Exactly, yes. All falling victims to them. Be ironic. FC will trilogy might be Bonnie Bro family, and 1/6 FNAF family. Perhaps we might get another FNAF Chica Bro family. Right? Yeah. In that sense, we don't technically have the Chica Bro and then the Freddy Bro family stories to tell, which could be cool as well. You know, because maybe the Chica Bro has connection to Chica's party world, or maybe their parents like had some connection there. Who knows? Completely agree with you. FNAF 3 location is the first. And real life historical buildings become museum attractions. The first location being yes, exactly same here. And that's what I think the map was trying to tell us. Just that the FNAF 3 is the same layout as the FNAF 1, and they're one and the same. I'm surprised that Steve Wool and Scott managed to redirect all the mess they made the story that Scott wanted, but I'm sure there's still some loose ties that can be clean hidden somewhere. Yeah. I mean, me too. I agree because it was a lot to tie up, like you said, especially with the Mimic, and if he was in Security Breach, like is it Afton? But they did a good job. I think it's all making a lot more sense and easier to understand. People love history, and what better way to... Exactly, yes. And like you said, I feel like it happens all the time, realistically. And it just makes the most sense. Instead of making a whole new location, why not use the same FNAF 1 location that even would give that like retro vibe? Because it's older. But this is cool, yeah. I really like this ending. I guess the only thing to me is it just really seems like the other ending is canon, the parachute ending, because that's where Arnold actually scans the Mexis program, and we do know the Mexis has some role in the future, so that's what's straying me away from saying that this ending is canon. What if the new era of FNAF games is showing us the ripple effects of the Afton family? Right, yeah, exactly, it makes sense, kind of their actions, and following this new family, and the result of that. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I really like the idea of following this new family and kind of finally straying away from the Aftons. Even though I love the Aftons and their story, I really like the idea of moving to this side of things now. Let's see. Now we should take a look at the secret ending, which is very cool. Here, the only way to unlock it is by getting all the collectibles, and then beating Moon.exe, and then after that, having glitch permissions, which will allow you to enter David's room. And then here, you're basically telling a bedtime story to the Mimic before the Mimic kills you, which is fun. After these ads, we will watch it.
Welcome to bedtime.
Yeah, so here the mimic is in the closet, and here you have the White Tiger plushie, and this is a book to try to tell the mimic a bedtime story. I just got 2 ads. Hello.
And not watery, like exactly, and unsweetened, has 0 grams of sugar. And don't forget,
The Ruin, Hope
it's
1
an
and 2 Candy Cadet
excellent
Stories,
source of
Princess Quest,
calcium.
Secret Mimic with
Wow,
Moon.exe.
Planet
They're
Oat
telling
really
different
has it
versions of the
all.
same story, like they're mimicking themselves, following them. Yeah, they're right. Yeah. Oh, I just realized that. Yes. Wow, a lot of good points. Because in the Candy Cadet Hope 1 and 2, you're right. They do talk about like the forest and the cabin in the woods. That's cool. You're right. Kind of. I guess the same story, but also just different people. You know, which is cool. Kind of following the same theme. So yeah, mimic in the closet. Also, obviously the FNAF 4 room. Come on. So every time the mimic attacks you, you can press a button until you eventually finish the story, which will allow you to reset the mimic's programming to mimic David at this point. If Edwin or Arnold are still alive, they can join Cass, Gregory, Vanessa, and become a Fantastic 5 or 4 if one of them is dead. Right, yes, I'm telling you, their team up would go crazy, and I wish Arnold was alive. I don't think he is, but I wish he was. What if since all this building are just built on top of each other, wouldn't all the buildings collapse in earthquake that are mentioned in Ruin? That's true, yeah. Because I know the earthquakes were probably caused by the blob moving around and kind of causing the structure to collapse on itself. So I don't know how any of the buildings are left, honestly. David and Secret of the Mimic, Gregory and Ruin? Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Candy Cadet is also from MCM. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I mentioned that, I think, in my last video, which is pretty cool. I didn't see many people talking about it, but that's a cool reveal. That's another thing that Fazbear's used from Edwin. Like, really? Edwin really did create a lot for Fazbear's when you think about it. But look how cute the mimic is here. This is so sad. No. You see, and he goes back up, and then you keep playing a story and story. And you have to play a story correctly. There's an order. I'm not sure how the order is played, but once you have this order, you can reset the mimic's programming by using the data driver. Okay, let's see.
They all started a band and lived happily ever after. The end.
There he goes. He looks funny here. And this is the glitch permission I was talking about earlier that Fiona gives you, or the Sun character gives you access to. So here you reset the mimic's programming to mimic David. Look at him, then he just takes the plush.
Now it's time for bed.
I think this ending is probably the least chance of being canon, just because it's a good ending, which is kind of sad to say, but it's just hard to see how this would eventually lead to Ruin, where the mimic is again being violent and such. Fazbear loves burying their past. Lol, yes, exactly. Just build another building on top and they're good to go. It is crazy how there's so many important buildings on top of each other. What is that? Convenient. It is very, right? And then, yeah, even the FNAF 4 house is probably Edwin's mansion. There's so many in one spot. And it's just kind of, you're right, convenient and perfect how they're on the same spot. Hope 1 and 2 story is about an old woman who is scared. Ruin is a young girl getting alert instead. The mimic might be trying to make a new Vanny with Cassie. Hope 1 and 2 is Vanessa getting trapped because she is freed. Right, yeah. I wish we got more about Cassie and the mimic, because you're right, there is definitely some story to tell there. Ruin's Cassie is captured. Yeah, I wonder how that'll play out in the next game. Whether that being Gregory has to save her, or if Cassie... It's almost the opposite, that the Cassie somehow... Or Cassie's able to somehow meet with Gregory. I haven't seen this ending, but the mimic looks so cute. I know. I feel so bad for him, right? I know he's like murdering us a lot and murdering people, but look at him. And then he just lays in bed. And then that's it. Yeah, again, this ending is... Although I like it, and I think it's probably one of the better endings like in the entire franchise because of just how satisfying it is, it's probably not canon, which is sad. Because yeah, at this point, you know, you put the mimic to rest in a sense. I'm sure the mimic isn't possessed, but you're, you know, resetting the program and fixing it, which is something no one else is able to do. So yep, I guess those are all the endings. Yeah, I think I'm still gonna go with this ending probably being canon.
So hold it up high. You don't just give an extra hand. You give your whole heart.
Again, just because this is the only ending where we download the Mexis program, and we do need that. We do know that's important for the future with Ruin and Hope 1 and 2. So, but I wish the other one was a canon. Or maybe it could be one of the things like in Hope 1 or Security Breach where multiple endings are canon. Like again, here we have this scene where the mimic is gonna take the data driver from us, but after he takes the data driver, what if he just simply stuffs Arnold into the Fredbear suit, like in the other ending, you know? Same exact thing. And I guess it makes sense instead of just leaving Arnold out there. Because why spare him in this ending but not in the other ending? The big Freddy head and security breach on the Pizzaplex same one from MCM, right? Yes, that's what I discussed earlier. I'll bring that up just so you guys can see, because I do think that's such a cool detail. Basically confirming that they're the same. For those who weren't here and who can also see it.
Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic just solved the...
So yes, so this
We find the exact same
Freddy head from Ruin and Security Breach is probably the exact same one we see in the MCM, you know? We don't see this head anywhere else, and it makes sense that it's here, you know? It just never left. It's the same abandoned Freddy head. I believe the secret ending is not canon, but it's showing us how maybe Cassie will fix him too. The GJ looks... Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I like that. You're right. I do like that. Yeah, maybe this is just another way how Cassie will stop the mimic. You know, resetting its programming. That'd be really cool. I like that. It's just maybe foreshadowing. It's cool. So yeah, what do you guys think? Same exact Freddy head? I think so. They have to be, right? And even just looking at how this like buildings collapse, like you can say that this pipe is this, you know, or just the way it collapsed on itself and leaving this Freddy head here. Because going forward, here you find the FNAF 1 prototype pizzeria, and same thing here. Walking more forward, you find the FNAF 6 pizzeria. Same exact thing. Bro thought he solved everything. Blood can't get the map hat virus. We don't want to lose him. The map hat sanity, right? I know. I feel like I'm getting there with this one. This one is a lot more than even security breach. It's a lot. Nah, that is crazy. All those buildings for items just one place for purpose of the story. Yeah, it's interesting how it works with the story. Because it's not explained too well how one is stacked on top of each other or how it even works. But yeah, it definitely was banned. Yeah, I agree. The hand is of Glamrock Freddy on the statue from security breach. The mimic is just mimicking what it has seen within underground pizzeria. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, exactly. Damn, nice. I think the fire ending is canon because in Ruin the place is burnt when we see the mimic in Ruin. Yes, that is true, right, yeah. The mimic does appear to be burnt, and what if it goes back in the fire for some reason? And I definitely agree, yeah. I guess my biggest point was just because that's where you take the Mexis, but yeah. Actually, now that I've seen the secret ending, maybe the mimic used the data driver to upgrade himself, giving himself access to more parts that he can use and lead us to getting... Oh, nice, I like that too, yeah, it's cool. Huh, I like that too, yeah. Because we do know the mimic is a very smart program. And I wouldn't doubt it if it just gave itself more permission. If it's so easy for it to just fix himself, then it can definitely give itself like a glitch permission, which could have led to glitchtrap maybe, you know? That's what glitched out the program, which could have led to the virus. I don't know. They're definitely the same head and the tunnel leading to FNAF's location. There are pipes all over. Yes, exactly. You know, there's some pipes you can kind of see with the video that I use, but yeah,
Freddy heads have
they
to
gotta
be the
same location.
And we've only seen these two Freddy heads in these two games, which would mean that the...
If M1/F10 and 4 used to be in the Mimic Endo, and David asked if, hey, I want to have a little brother, how cool would it be? I don't know. Maybe they'll give him like another Endo. Here, and then I'll show us another time just because, for new people here. This is kind of the map I had laid out, I made. So this is the Pizzaplex. This is the FNAF 6 location, which is also the FNAF 1 prototype pizzeria, which is then the manor. And then we have Edwin's house off to the distance, the mansion, which then becomes the FNAF warehouse. And then under the FNAF warehouse, we have the FNAF 6 location bunker. And then, of course, off the distance, we have Fall Fest 1983. Probably not Fall Fest 1970s because that place was burned down. So here you guys take a look. This is, I guess, my map, you know? What I think is most likely. If the head is the same, then research development is under Fredbear's and a circus gallery is located with Fredbear's. Right, yeah, that's another thing. Maybe if you really want, you could even fit Fredbear's and more locations possibly, just with how things could line up correctly. And Help wanted one, I'm mistaken, cruise, and I said, dang, we're getting FNAF in a cruise. That would be crazy. I think that's the FNAF reboot. Like, instead of Disney on a cruise, it's FNAF on a cruise. I'd like that. That could be cool. Here you go, guys.
In front of the manor.
So yeah, I don't know. I think we got a lot of good things today, you know? Definitely some ideas with Mexis, but I think in the future, what I want to do is have the Mexis theory, Glamrock Freddy theory, and then maybe one on the puppet, so you guys can stay tuned for that. I'm going to end the stream soon, but before I do just want to share some updates on the FNAF 3 reboot video. For those that have seen my reboot franchise, I have FNAF 1 and FNAF 2 reboot videos, and I was going to release the FNAF 3 reboot video before Secret of the Mimic was released, but I ran out of time, especially just with the scale of it. So I'll give you guys a sneak peek here and take a look at it. A little off topic with playing as glitchtrap in Dead by Daylight is the most fun I've had. Definitely recommend if I decide to make a video. Thank you, no, I definitely might stream because it looks so much fun, and I definitely use glitchtrap or the Spring Bonnie from the FNAF movie, but it looks so fun. Hi, Steven. The playground of FNAF 4 mini games lines up with for David playing what a band. Oh, that's interesting. Dang. Right, using the playground of David. William feeling good after stealing Edwin's house. I know. Yep, I'm sure he feels good. But yes, here I will showcase some small teaser for the FNAF 3, but you guys can take a look. I've never shown this before, so exclusive if you want. But here we go. Just for more context, I've been working on the FNAF 3 reboot on Blender, and I guess the point is I wanted to make it feel like an entire game. You know, you're playing on your own, and something that felt like an own game, you know, instead of like just the video I've done in the past 2 games. So here we go. Let's see. So yes, here's a little teaser. This is all made by I made all this in Blender, and this is something you're playing as. This is just a small quick look. You're gonna face characters like Phantom Puppet, and then later down the line. And again, yeah, all this map was something I made, you know, just in this game. The lore is you're returning to Fall Fest, which in this point is abandoned, and there's Freddy, so you're running around. And then yeah. And then of course Springtrap is also part of this game. I'm just giving you guys some quick looks, which I will show them off here. Thank you, Neo. Appreciate it. Thank you. And here is what Springtrap will look like once I get a look at it. There he is. So here's Springtrap in the game, and then you run away from him and such. This is the unfinished version. I did add audio to it, and then the game overlay, which would it look like. And then yeah. And then here's Springtrap chasing you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I definitely happy how the map and tents look. Get my Freddy's possibly possessed. Like Henry due to Freddy X. Right, I do like the Freddy definitely has to be possessed, and if it is someone, I'd say by either Henry or Fiona. So Edwin's Springlock suits would else not function properly if water. Right, yeah, that also makes no sense. How did Edwin get it down, but then William and Henry didn't, and then if anything, William was Springlocked by either sweat or the water in the room. Thank you, Angelo Games. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm definitely happy with how it turned out, and I'm excited for you guys to see the final product, which should release in maybe I want to say a week or 2 probably. And then after this, I have another exciting project I want to work on relating to Secret of the Mimic. So yeah, stay tuned for that, guys. Why does it look like an ice cream game with a FNAF reboot? I think I'd say that's the vibe I was going for. But yes, I appreciate everyone tuning in. I do have to go now, unfortunately. But thank you everybody for tuning in. It's just so much fun talking about the FNAF lore and getting ideas from you guys, because I think that's where the best ideas come from, you know? And we can all just kind of come together and look at a simple FNAF game and make some great theories. So I appreciate it. And yes, yeah, I had a lot of fun theorizing as well. And I hope to see you all later in the next stream. I will be streaming more, so stay tuned. Thank you, thank you, MR3D Gaming, for so many great theories. Neo as well, thank you. I cannot dunk over Peter Griffin, unfortunately. I wish. Another shout out to John Cena's Ball for great theories as well. Good night, everyone. Thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned for the next stream. I appreciate everyone. I hope everyone has a good night, and I'll see you guys in the next stream. Bye, everyone. Thank you, John Cena's Ball. I'll note that down. Glam Freddy also has you. Perfect. Have a great night as well, Angelo Games. Thank you, and also great job on the videos. Keep it up. I love your videos. Thank you. Looking forward to next year. Oh, thank you. Stay tuned. Next year videos tomorrow, so stay. You missed it, Edwin. Shout out to my brother missing the entire stream. He missed it all. Bye, everyone. Good night, everyone. See you, Edwin. See you, everyone.